Shouldn't put your dirty lawnmower away for the winter either, especially when Maximum Outdoor Equipment is offering a winter service special, which includes everything your mower needs to be clean, sharpened, ready to go, and ready to mow next spring. As an incentive to get your mower in before the rush, Maximum Outdoor is offering your choice of early bird winter service discounts through December 29th. 25% off on winter service labor or free pickup and delivery within a 25-mile radius. See full details on our winter service specials and the early bird discounts available through December 29th, online at MaximumOutdoor.com or give us a call at 316-943-0201. At Maximum Outdoor Equipment, we won't wash your socks or your dishes, but we'd love to clean and service your mower and get it ready for spring. Maximum Outdoor Equipment, just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Maximum service, maximum value, Maximum Outdoor Equipment.
This is a Steckline Communications station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by MJ's Truck Repair of Mound Ridge, Kansas. Sales and service of the big rigs and trailers, plus ag diesel equipment repair on and off the farm.
Good Wednesday morning. A Goddard High School student lost his life in an early morning two-vehicle accident west of Wichita yesterday morning. 17-year-old Connor J. Richhuber was traveling westbound on 21st Street North from 167th Street West when his vehicle crossed over the center line and collided with an eastbound vehicle. Richhuber was deceased at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle, 55-year-old James Spear, was taken to Via Christi St. Francis Hospital in critical condition. Investigators believe icy conditions could have been a contributing factor. 24-year-old Corbin Breitenbach of Wichita has been sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the rape and attempted murder of a girl when she was just 7 years old last summer. Prosecutors say that in June of last year, Breitenbach broke into a West Wichita apartment, choked the girl until she was unconscious, and then took her to a balcony and raped her. A jury found Breitenbach guilty of the charges back in September. He acted as his own attorney in the proceedings. I'm Rick Everett. Now with sports, Doug Downs.
The Kansas City Chiefs will play their game next Monday night in Los Angeles instead of Mexico City. The Azteca Stadium field has not been in good condition due to heavy use and heavy rains, so the NFL decided yesterday that the game needed to be moved back to its original site, which is the home of the Los Angeles Rams. Tonight, Wichita State continues its home stretch with the Lady Shocks trying to go 3-0 on the season. They will face Sam Houston for a 6:30 tip at Charles Koch Arena. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
It sounds innocent enough.
I like to shop the internet thinking I'll save a few dollars.
But
when it comes to truck accessories, we spend a lot of time in our shop trying to adapt for people what they thought would be such a great deal.
With a combined 100 years of knowledge and experience, our professional sales and installation staff will help you make sure that you get the right accessories for your truck.
Have your accessories professionally installed, saving you time and headaches.
Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway.
Hey, Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, and I want to tell you about Rob's Gun Tech and Firearms. They're the dealer to buy, sell, trade, and even consign. Budget to high-end custom firearms, ammo, accessories. They've got it all and feature Wilson Combat, Gun Crafters Industries, and Nighthawk Custom. Have a request? Work with their in-house gunsmith. Find the right solution for you. Rob's Gun Tech offers pricing programs and discounts and proudly gives back to the Veteran Suicide Network. Learn more today at robsguntechandfirearms.com or visit them just east of 159th North on East Kellogg, where they know more than just the price.
This Thanksgiving, let the Spears family cook for your family. Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop, Maple and Tracy in Wichita, makes Thanksgiving deliciously easier than ever, catering all the goodness of the holiday for you. Whether you choose to pick up the prepared Thanksgiving goodness the Wednesday before to warm up in your own home, or pick up the prepared ready-to-go meal on Thanksgiving Day from Spears, it's easy as pie. And family meals of 6 or more will even throw in the pie. Call Shara on Spears Thanksgiving Hotline, 686-5173, 686-5173.
Are you ready to maximize your uptime in the field and save 15% while doing it? This is Leroy the Tractor Man from Schmidt & Sons, offering big savings and special discounts until December 31st on all AGCO PM360 maintenance plans. Bring your equipment into Schmidt & Sons for an AGCO PM360 inspection, inspected by our factory-trained certified technicians, and you will receive peace of mind knowing your equipment will operate at peak performance, minimizing costly repairs, increasing uptime, and improving your trade-in value. Plus, repairs repairs done in our service department entitle you to 1-year warranty on parts and 6 months warranty on labor. Right now, the deal is even sweeter because with your inspection, not only can you receive up to 15% off on ICO parts, with approved credit, you can receive 0% interest and no payments for 180 days on repairs of $1,000 or more. Give us a call at either the Mount Hope or Winfield location to sign up for the ICO PM360 maintenance inspection and get the peace of mind you need and deserve all season long. Or find us on the web at schminnick.com.
Now, back to the KQAM News Desk. The sheriff in Butte County, California, says a list of missing residents will be released soon and that some 100 National Guard troops will be helping teams already looking for remains in the state's deadliest wildfire. 48 people are confirmed dead in Northern California. A renewed ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian militants in Gaza has brought an end to severe fighting. Correspondent Oren Lieberman is there for us.
In the fighting, 7 people were killed in Gaza, according to the Palestinian Ministry of Health. 1 person was killed here in the city of Ashkelon, right behind me, which is where we're standing right now. But this round, it seems, for now, has come to an end.
Israeli Defense Minister Avigdor Lieberman is resigning over the ceasefire, which he calls surrender to terror. 1 pilot is dead, another injured after a T-38C Talon training jet crashed at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas last evening. The surviving pilot's condition not released, and names are withheld pending notification of the families. Pre-market trading shows Wall Street stocks down slightly. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Propane Central, residential, commercial, industrial, and agricultural. Visit them online at propanecentral.com.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
Now we can move forward and we can do something really fantastic here. If we can light the fire under our legislature, if we can get Republicans on board to do the right thing, to not play wishy-washy politics, to not coddle to the education special interests, maybe we can get our budget under control. We're now prepared to understand that everything we do, we have to do with a supermajority to override her veto, because she's going to veto just about everything that the legislature does.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
The question is, I know you're asking it if you're watching. Yes, I do talk to myself. It's quite okay. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Sometimes people would say that on a normal basis. Anyways, welcome into the Voice of Reason. Boy, oh boy, what a day. It's going to be Wednesday. We are halfway through the week. It is a hump day. It is a pre-Friday celebration. It is the day we look forward to each and every day. It is one of the greatest days of the entire week. Welcome in 316-721-8255. This is the Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hoosier. What an honor to have you along today to start off your morning. Another cold, bitter, wintry day before winter even sets in. But I think a lot of people are getting affected by this cold weather. I know they are getting sick. My little one is sick, and for like 2 nights in a row now, or 3 nights, it's been a while, a couple of days now, she has been very sick, the coughing, the sneezing, the runny nose, the not feeling well, and then, of course, she comes down in the middle of the night, and she's like, oh, I don't feel good, and she's got the stomach flu thing going on, and then the wife gets sick, and then I'm like, hey, don't you dare even try and get me sick. Not going to happen. So what do? You suck down vitamin C, you suck down a little bit of whiskey, and you suck down other stuff. I don't even know. But you know what? Hey, we're keeping on. We're trolling on. Hopefully you're not getting sick with this cold weather, because it is 19 degrees here at the Wichita at the KQAM studios, and I don't like 19-degree weather. That's just not the way that we roll. We like our 70-degree weather. We like our global warming at times. And that's the way we go. 316-721-8255. Welcome into it. It's going to be a fun show today. We have Jim Howell, Sedgwick County Commissioner, at 7:30 as usual. At 8 o'clock, it's been a while since we've had him on the program, but Phil Kerpen, he's the president of American Commitment, and we'll talk with him about what's happening at the federal level, the transition of power in the House of Representatives, who the leadership's going to be in the House. As you know, Paul Ryan leaving, not only is he not going to be Speaker of the House anymore because the Democrats are now going to take over the Speaker of the House, but we are electing our new leadership in the House of Representatives as the Senate Minority Leader. The minority party, which would be the Republicans now. So we need to figure out who's going to take that leadership role on, who's going to lead the Republicans in the House of Representatives, and whether it's going to be the establishment like Paul Ryan has been and what he's been advocating for, or whether it's going to be something a little more conservative at the federal level. I don't know. It's going to be up in the air yet. I know they've had a few different ideas and talks of different individuals that may be open for a position like that. So we'll have to see which one actually comes to fruition, and hopefully we can actually hold true to our conservative values. I don't know, though. I really don't know. It is going to be a very difficult process. We talked with Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, yesterday, and he had talked about the difficulty of getting any type of bill through once the transition happens at the beginning of the year. And us getting the leadership of the Democrats in the majority for the House, with us maintaining the majority in the Senate, what it's going to look like from there on out, I don't know. That's going to be the big question. And here's the thing. Progressives are getting more bold. They don't care anymore. Now the fact that many of them have come out and openly said yep, we're going to be socialist. Gerard Lamiro, we've had him on the show many times. He's talked about how he doesn't even think there's going to be a Democrat nominee in the presidential run in 2020. I think that's taking it a little crazy and a little too far. But at the same time, the Democrats are becoming more and more bold, and the base is not accepting it. It is the fringe progressive socialists that love this idea, and the mainstream Democrats, they're not for it. There are still some, I know it's crazy, but there are still some middle-of-the-road-ish, slightly left-leaning, JFK-style Democrats. I would take that style of Democrat any day, as opposed to what we're seeing today with the Bernie Sanders, with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which we will talk about today because she's made the news already before she's even gotten into her seat, and she's made the news many days in a row, and it's all ridiculous, stupid things the comments that she's made because she's not the brightest crayon in the box, and we've been saying this, but this is what we've elected. This is the direction we've gone. The young generation having a say in this, which, again, not all the young generation's bad by any means. I'm part of that-ish, but at the same time, the ones that did show up to the voting booth, the ones that did vote in someone like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and some of these other younger individuals who are on the more progressive end of the spectrum, this is what we're into now. This is the direction the government's going. This is the direction society's going. And the question is, how do we stop it? How do we reverse it? How do we go back to traditionalism, where they've seen it as the traditionalism being the stuffy old white guy, and how dare that the big rich elite establishment ones controlling things. That's not the case. That's not conservatism. That's not republicanism, but that's the way it's portrayed in the media, and that's the mentality that the young generation gets when they think about politics and they think of Republicans, which is why something like what we're doing at the local level is that important. When you have someone that's young running for like the county party, that's kind of important. If you remember, we are running for a Sedgwick County Republican Party between Galton Glasscock and Ben Sauceda and myself and Tanya Buckingham. It's going to be a great team. Something like that. I'm not plugging it or anything. That's just an example. Because the local level counts and the young generation trying to appeal to them counts. For example, the Sacramento Bee has a story about Senator Kamala Harris. As you know, she's from California, and she's proposed a bill. This is how bold they've gotten. This is how crazy bold they've gotten. They don't care anymore. They know it's not accepted per se, except for their base, and they play to their base, and they don't care about anybody else. It's not about trying to be bipartisan. It's not about trying to reach across the aisle. It's not about trying to work together for the best thing for America. It's about putting in as many extreme ideas as you can, and then attacking those who don't agree with it, and embracing your base that may be fringe, but embracing that base. From the Sacramento Bee, American families making less than $100,000 could be eligible for a monthly tax credit of up to $500 or $6,000 a year under new legislation announced last week by U.S. Senator Kamala Harris of California. Now, it sounds right. It sounds good, right? Yeah, hey, you make $100,000 or less, then you could be eligible for up to $6,000 a year in tax credits that you don't have to pay. Now, that's not going to work that way because Democrats like their taxes and they like money coming into the government. But what this is this is a government freebie handout, not a tax cut, or else you would just say it's a tax cut. And do you really think that someone like Kamala Harris or Bernie Sanders or Cory Booker or any of these Democrats would come out and actually advocate for a tax cut for someone making $100,000? No, of course not. They don't like tax cuts. They don't like relieving the middle class. They don't like relieving workers. They want to impose their will on workers. So it goes down as the tier step. American families making less than $100,000 could be eligible for a $6,000 a year tax credit under the new legislation. Individuals making less than $50,000 would be eligible for a $250 a month tax credit or $3,000 a year. Quote, Americans are working harder than ever, but stagnant wages mean they can't keep up with the cost of living, according to Harris, who is a likely presidential candidate for 2020. Harris's office cited back in 2017 survey from the website bankrate.com that found more than half of Americans cannot afford a $500 unexpected expense such as rent increases or medical bills or child care. Wait a second. Is she acknowledging that the Barack Obama economy was an absolute number one failure? Is she acknowledging the fact that in 2017, right after the reign of President Barack Obama, that people could not afford rent, that people could not afford the medical bills under his precious Obamacare, that people could not afford child care because of the cost of living. Cost of living that's increased because of something called inflation. Inflation caused by Democrats inflating the economy by injecting money into it without any type of basis and just printing off money on a whim and messing up all these trade deals. No, I'm not talking about Donald Trump. I am talking about Barack Obama. By trying to raise minimum wage, by trying to punish the rich, by having people leave different areas of the country because it's too damn expensive to live. They've created this, and now they want relief because of it. I've told you this many times before. This is the way the Democrats work. They come in, they mess up a situation, and then they say there is a problem with the situation and that they need to fix it. So that way you give them the power to fix it when they're the ones that messed it up in the first place. That's what they do. Every single time. The Institute of Taxation and Economic Policy estimates the bill would impact one of every two workers and two out of every three children in America, according to Harris's office. Harris's announcement could include endorsements from several elected officials and organizations, of course, including many progressive organizations from California, Sacramento, the NAACP, mayors of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, and Long Beach. Now, this is just for California, by the way, but they want to try and make this national. There's no real chance, however, according to Jack Pitney from the professor of government at Claremont McKinney College, there's no real chance this will become law in the next couple of years, as this does play to the base of the Democrats, and it's unlikely Democrats will win enough seats to gain the majority in the U.S. Senate in 2018, which they did not. Political polling website 538 gives Democrats the 21% chance of doing so, and again, they did not. But this is bold. This is what they want. They want to go extreme as they can. It's a subsidy. It's not a tax break. It is a tax credit that they say, but it's really a subsidy. They give a little bit to anyone making $100,000. They give a little bit to anyone making less than $50,000. And what they eventually want to do is say, you know what, if you're not giving anything, you got to remember, 48% of the country is not paying federal income tax. They pay other taxes with sales tax and everything else that they have to live on, but they are not paying federal income tax. 48% of the nation, especially in Colorado, or in California and in Colorado, where you have homeless, where you have severe poverty because it's too expensive to live, because it's very difficult to find jobs, because there's crazy drugs rampant all over the place. It's very difficult to actually get your footing and actually establish yourself and be able to survive in an inflated economy like that caused by progressive ideology and by progressive legislation. So eventually what this turns into is let's give free goodies to individuals who can't afford anything. We're giving tax breaks to the $100,000 or less, giving tax breaks to the $50,000 or less, and then, oh yeah, you're not making anything? Well, you don't want to be left out. Let's give you stuff. While we punish the rich. While we punish the evil rich people. And that arbitrary line of what rich is actually changes every single time they talk about it, from $250,000 from Barack Obama had talked about. Then it dropped down to $120,000. Then it was up with Bernie Sanders, like $350,000 or $300 whatever $1,000. It just bounces back and forth. No one knows what that is because they don't know what that arbitrary line is between what's considered rich and what's considered poor, especially when you live in different parts of the country where $100,000 is nothing, and in other places $100,000 is extremely wealthy. You don't know. But they're getting bold, which is a dangerous thing. It could also be a good thing because we can use it against them. We can go after them and expose them for the lunacy that they have. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, which I do want to talk about a little bit today because she's really fun to pick on, she's made some really, really stupid comments, and the thing is, people still defend her. Now, Donald Trump's made some ridiculous comments as well, but she says it every time she gets in front of a microphone, every time she gets in front of a camera. She says ridiculous, absurd, loony things where you're just thinking, how in the world did she get elected? Kamala Harris being so angry and bitter that she is, how in the world did she get elected? Nancy Pelosi taking the gavel again in the House of Representatives. Are you kidding me? Come on. How in the world does she stay elected? We need to address the serious issue here is that whether it's uneducated voters, whether they're just very good at being able to win over people, whether it's actually people that honestly think these are good ideas, I don't know what's going on, but we have to figure it out. We have to unveil the layers of the onion because when they become bold and they actually promote different legislation that we know is going to be unpopular nationwide, that we know is not going to be in the best interest of the nation, that we know is going to harm workers more than help workers and harm citizens more than help citizens, we need to take a serious look and say, why is this even a conversation right now? It is okay sometimes to say, this is not even an okay situation. This is not an okay conversation in any way, shape, or form. 316-721-8255. Big show today. We have a lot to get to. We do have the transition team from Laura Kelly, governor-elect in the state of Kansas. What does that look like? As she says, she's working with a bipartisan team, plus the national media, looking at Kansas and saying that Kansas is now beginning to turn blue because of the failed Brownback policies and failed conservatism in the state. Is that true? Obviously not. But the media, again, portraying it to the rest of the nation, watching with that microscope in Kansas. What are we going to look like? What are we going to be doing? They're trying to make us look like the fools that have turned blue in the state of Kansas. Not the case in any way, shape, or form. We'll talk about a lot of that and more. Plus, I don't know if you heard or not yesterday, but Brian Fry, Wichita City Council member, he had talked about a new initiative going on with the police department here in Wichita, and we'll try and get maybe the police chief on or someone to talk about this a little more in depth. I have the official statement from the Facebook page from the Wichita Police Department about your bullets, and you can register your gun and your bullets based on the shells, and that way if your gun's stolen, you can help track it down and find it. Is this a good idea, or is this the government trying to register your firearms? And you're a little wary of this. We'll talk about that later in the show as well. Lots to get to. It's funny, even during an off political season now, even an off election cycle now, there's still a lot of crazy, weird news that we need to be up on, we need to educate ourselves on, and we need to be able to handle it moving forward. So we'll do all that and more here on a Wednesday, halfway through the week, baby. 22 minutes past the hour. This is The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Meade. Well, the U.S. soybean harvest may be smaller than was first anticipated, so that raises the question, will that improve price prospects? The answer, probably not. We get the story from Gary Crawford.
U.S. soybean growers may face several more months of tough sledding in export markets if USDA's latest forecasts turn out to be accurate. The latest USDA crop forecast was down 2% from October's projections, leaving us still with a record 4.6 billion bushel crop. However, USDA Outlook Board Chairman Seth Meyer told us with smaller than expected supplies and continued trade disputes,
we did feel like we needed to make some adjustments on the export side in terms of lowering exports.
Meyer says normally China would be buying beans from us during the first 4 months of this marketing year.
But they've sent a signal that they would try not to. So far, they've managed to mostly avoid us. They'll draw down stocks early in the year and then replenish it when the South American crop comes off.
Starting in late December. Then we may get markets that South America can't supply. But with exports expected down from last year, Meyer says U.S. stocks will grow. Prices could average $8.60 a bushel, 73 cents less than this past season. Gary Crawford, Washington.
In other news, U.S. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue applauded the proposed rulemaking from the Department of Labor regarding the H-2A visa program. The proposed new rule would require American employers looking for temporary help to advertise their job openings to domestic workers online instead of in expensive newspaper ads that reach a limited audience. This is one of the first steps in H-2A regulatory reform that was promised in May through a joint statement from the Secretaries of Agriculture, Labor, State, and Homeland Security. Perdue says one of the biggest concerns he hears from farmers during his travels around the country is the shortage of legal farm labor. Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network.
It was the most unusual promotion idea I ever heard of.
Oh my God, they're talking!
Les, are you there?
Oh my God, they're talking!
It's the KQAM KGSO Turkey Trot.
I really don't know how to describe it.
Be listening mornings during the voice of reason.
It's pretty strange after that.
And when you hear this sound,
Oh my God, they're talking!
call in to win your Thanksgiving bird. Brought to you by The Spectacle Shop, MJ's Truck Repair at Moundridge, Joaquin Family and Cosmetic Dentistry, Just Right Auto Repair, and
Where'd you get those birds?
KQAM.
At Starseed, we realize every farmer and rancher has a passion for conservation, which is why we offer conservation seeds. This season, let Starseed assist with your CRP, buffers, waterways, roadside projects, and any wildlife project you have in mind. Starseed works closely with landowners, dealers, and government agencies to ensure the best quality seed for all of your conservation needs. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
The holidays bring friends and family together to tables filled with delicious food. Make the centerpiece of your holiday table smoked and cured meats from Yoder Meats. Ring in the holidays with our custom smoked turkeys, cured hams, or specialty meats like lamb, custom cut for your gathering. Stop by one of our 4 stores in Yoder or Wichita today and let our team help you find the right cut of meat to impress your holiday guests. From our holiday table to yours, taste the old-fashioned flavor at Yoder Meats.
Fall has a certain feel to it, like no other. And if you're the type of person that likes to get things done outside, there's nothing like the feel of steel in your grip to get the job done. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays has perhaps the best selection of steel power equipment in western Wichita, maybe south central Kansas. Check out the steel products that have earned the most praise from owners like you at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays, 5204 North Mays Road, where we take pride in serving you.
There it is, Black Friday, and I know everybody has a sale. But at Rusty Eck Ford, our sales are always bigger. Now through November 30th, get up to 30% off a new Ford Focus. Ford Escape, 25% off, or choose 0% for $72 and $1,000 back. F-150 XLTs up to 25% off, or our exclusive 0 for $72. So come gobble up the savings at Rusty Eck Ford. If you don't come and see us today, we can't save you any money.
When we say Jewelry Savers is full-service jewelry repair, we mean full service. So, what do we mean by full service? For ring sizing, stone setting, soldering, and shank repair, come to Jewelry Savers. For lobster clasps, appraisals, prong retipping, pearl restringing, watch repair, and chains, shortened or lengthened, come to Jewelry Savers.
Think we're done? No way.
For watch batteries, watch bands, engraving, beads, and bars, resizing, cleaning, polishing, and a bunch of other repairs that haven't even been invented yet, come to Jewelry Savers. Hey, when we say Jewelry Savers is full-service jewelry repair, we mean full service. Jewelry Savers, K96 in Greenwich by Cabela's.
You know, it may be cold outside, but at least I want to pretend I'm on a beach. Yeah, welcome into the Voice of Reason, 316-721-8255. Happy Wednesday morning to you. Stay warm and safe out there driving into work or getting ready to do whatever you do on a daily basis. Waking you up the best way we know how to do so. And let's go right to the phone, shall we? 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Jim.
Good morning, Jim.
You know, your discussion this morning has been very interesting. Back during the Vietnam War, one of the hardest problems our military had was getting the North Vietnamese to come out and fight. and we were fighting little groups, looking for, a dozen guys in the jungle.
Sure.
But then the North came out and they did the Tet Offensive, and they attacked all over South Vietnam, and were major battles. And the United States won every single one and just about destroyed the North Vietnamese military.
Mm-hmm.
Walter Cronkite was there, and he told the people in America that we had lost terrible, why it had been just absolutely abysmal, and the war was all just unwinnable because he said so.
Sure.
And that turned the tide. In other words, when these news reporters tell us the failed Brown-back tax cuts, why don't they tell us the failed JFK tax cuts? Why don't they tell us the failed Ronald Reagan tax cuts? Why don't they tell us about...
Well, they try to. They try to. They try and say the Ronald Reagan tax cuts were miserable as well, and that destroyed a lot of things. Even though we saw some of the largest GDP growth, we saw a complete reversal from the Jimmy Carter era. We saw things actually come back. We see the market stabilize. We saw some really amazing things during Ronald Reagan.
There was pride in America.
You're right.
When President Trump says, "Make America Great Again," he's saying, "Be proud to be an American."
Amen to that one. I love it, Jim. I appreciate that. You're absolutely right. I love the example there. As the media says it over and over and over, even though it may not be true, as long as they say, "Oh, look, the failed tax cuts from Kansas. Oh, look, the failed stuff going on in Kansas," then people begin to believe it. And look at what we got. To a degree. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason on a Wednesday morning. Bottom of the hour news coming up. Lots to get to today. It's going to be a fun one. Stay here.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
In the midst of the deadliest, most destructive wildfire in California history, people are still waiting word on their missing loved ones in Northern California. Over 1,000 evacuees are at more than a half dozen shelters. The Butte County Sheriff's list of the missing is being compiled for release. Day 2 of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's trial on drug gang charges is set to get underway today at U.S. District Court in Brooklyn. Correspondent Athena Jones tells us Day 1 was quite the scene.
Very, very heavy security with bomb-sniffing dogs, federal marshals, metal detectors to enter the courtroom and the courthouse. And we know that 2 jurors were dismissed yesterday. So a lot going on already just as this trial begins its second day.
President Trump may be planning a big staff shakeup. The Associated Press reports Trump is discussing replacing Chief of Staff John Kelly with Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff Nick Ayers. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke may be on their way out, along with Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. I'm Michael Toscano.
If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please call this toll-free number right now, 800-390-9528. That's 800-390-9528. By calling your addiction team, you're taking the first steps to recovery. The help you need could be one call away. 800-390-9528. Make the free call now. 800-390-9528. Your addiction team is a third-party advertiser for various treatment centers and placement networks. Individual results will vary. Visit youraddictionteam.com/terms for more information.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Wednesday. A California man has admitted to making a hoax call that ultimately led police to fatally shoot a Wichita man following a dispute between online gamers over a $1.50 bet in a Call of Duty World War II video game. Tyler Barris pleaded guilty to making a false report resulting in death, cyberstalking, and conspiracy related to the deadly swatting case. The deal with prosecutors will send him to prison for at least 20 years. In all, Barris pleaded guilty to a total of 51 charges for calls across the nation. A man convicted of helping to beat a Salina woman with a chain before strangling and drowning her has died. The Kansas Department of Corrections says 30-year-old Joel Howell died Sunday. Howell was in prison after pleading guilty to first-degree murder in the 2013 death of 27-year-old Kristen Tyler. Details of his death were not immediately available. Mid-America Network News. Before we know it, we'll be scraping windshields and working on year-end things. What are you wearing? Life gets away from us sometimes, like the annual eye exam that your insurance company all but pays for. Waring and Fiegel Optometry at 21st and Tyler is a full-scope professional optometry practice. At Waring and Fiegel Optometry, new patients are welcome. Don't let the benefits of your insurance, let alone the benefits of healthy vision, get away from you. Waring and Fiegel Optometry, 21st and Tyler.
If you're having a holiday party in your home or office, now's the time to schedule your holiday cleaning with the Maids, because you've got better things to do. Let the Maids team of 4 make your home or office sparkle by using the 22-step Healthy Touch system. Go to themaidswichita.com for a virtual tour of each step. Holiday cleaning times fill up fast, so call the Maids today at 832-9058. And don't forget gift certificates from the Maids.
I've got better things to do.
832-9058.
It's full of comic legends.
What TV series featured Tinky Winky and Poe?
To Catch a Predator. Wall-to-wall laughs.
In Greek mythology, the goddess of virginity is who?
Lying.
It's the comedy game show.
In reference to the drugstore chain, what does CVS stand for?
Condoms, Viagra, and snacks.
Watch all the comedy on Funny You Should Ask. Weekdays at 2 on Fox, Kansas.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
Patriotism is alive and well. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, 35 minutes past the hour. Welcome into the Voice of Reason. Great to have you along for the ride today, as it is a Wednesday halfway through the week. This portion of the Voice of Reason brought to you by Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop. Be a star today on your way to work and pick up a dozen donuts from Lamar's. Maybe a good time to do that this early in the morning as you head in. Great way to start each and every single morning. They do have 3 locations in town, one just south of Rock and K96, one at Tyler and Mays, and Harry on the east side of Hillside. Right here in Wichita. Try them. You'll definitely like them. Lamar's Donuts and Coffee Shop online at lamars.com. 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. So we got some calls in line here I want to take in just a second as well. But I want to read this. Governor-elect Laura Kelly came out with the announcement yesterday, and the Topeka Capital Journal, of course, had to report this. But Governor-elect Laura Kelly announced 4 members of a transition team as of yesterday that will work with Governor Jeff Collier's administration on the transfer of power starting in January. I'm committed to building a bipartisan team to lead Kansas. Now, bipartisan can mean many different things, apparently, because I don't know how many of this is actually bipartisan, but nonetheless, let's see who she's got. Did she really begin the bipartisan effort? Now, remember, conservatives are evil. Chris Kobach is evil. Governor Collier, kind of evil. Conservatives, though, especially very evil. Tea Party, Truth Caucus, Freedom Caucus individuals, very, very evil. I highly doubt that she chose anybody from Governor Collier's administration. What do you think? Do you think, show of hands, she chose anybody from the Brownback administration to help with the transition team in a bipartisan effort to bring on conservatives into her administration to help out? I don't know. Let's see. She does say, quote, to assist me in this transition, I have brought folks with experience in previous transitions to provide guidance and expertise. The group includes Dwayne Goosen, former Republican member of the Kansas House, who worked on the transition team for Republican Governor Bill Graves and Governor Kathleen Sebelius, along with Mark Parkinson's. Brought on Natalie Haag, H-A-A-G. Forgive me if I said that one wrong. General Counsel for Capital Federal Savings Bank and former Graves Administration Chief of Staff. And General Counsel Joyce Allegrucci, former Chief of Staff for Sebelius. And Jordana Ziegler, Campaign Manager for Laura Kelly. 2 of them from Bill Graves' administration. The rest of them from Kathleen Sebelius and her administration. Now, you could say technically that coming from Bill Graves' administration that they are, quote-unquote, Republican. How much of that Republicanism actually bleeds through? I don't know. Bill Graves did endorse Laura Kelly over Chris Kobach. Republicanism not really showing its nice sign of good faith when it comes to bipartisanship. This is the way the bipartisanship is going to work, by the way, for the next couple of years. It really is. Laura Kelly's going to talk about bipartisanship, working together, holding hands, singing Kumbaya, moving forward. She's going to completely, the same way Barack Obama did, she's going to leave out all conservatives. She's going to leave out every Truth Caucus member. She's going to dismiss them. She's going to ignore them. And the Republicanism she's going to hype up is the moderate, wishy-washy Republicans that embrace her anyways, and therefore they can say, quote unquote, that it is a bipartisan measure. That's the way politics is going to be for the next 4 years. That's even though that we won a more conservative legislature. So the stories about the way that the USA Today actually tried to report about Laura Kelly bringing the blue wave to Kansas and Kansas turning blue, not the case, not really the story. But it's a nice headline for the national media because we had a conservative, staunch conservative, Chris Kobach, that was going to run, and he was supposed to win, and he was the Donald Trump supporter, and he was going to be it. And we end up going blue with a very progressive liberal Laura Kelly, who is the repeat of Kathleen Sebelius, who is very much like the Barack Obama era of the state of Kansas. So Kansas went blue. And her bipartisan measure, the same way Barack Obama said, I'm going to do things bipartisan. I'm going to work together. We're going to hold hands. It's going to be great. And what did he do? He ended up bringing in a couple of mod Republicans and then say, look, we're doing great things. And then the conservatives wouldn't even give them a time of day. Wouldn't even give them a time of day. Welcome to the Kathleen Sebelius administration of 2019. That's going to happen in January. 316-721-8255. Do you think that this is a good measure, a good faith gesture with Republicans, former Bill Graves members, or do you think that, well, you know what, it's not even worth it? It's going to be very difficult to have our voice heard through her administration. Now, again, we won more in the legislature. We're doing better in the legislature, but that doesn't matter because, well, I mean, it does matter, but to her it doesn't matter. The national media, it doesn't matter. The progressives nationwide, where they see Kansas, hey, we're turning it blue, baby. That doesn't matter to them. It's just, oh, look, they elected a blue Democrat for governor. Must be it. Must be the end of it. Done. Over. Kansas is now blue. I wonder, even though Bernie Sanders didn't campaign for her, I wonder if he's going to take credit for that. They did try and campaign for Sharice Davids, and she did win, but they also campaigned for Paul Davis. He did not win in the congressional seats. They tried to campaign really hard for James Thompson. That one didn't go anywhere. So I wonder if they're going to try and take credit for the blue wave, quote unquote, that happened in Kansas. Because it didn't, but they can at least try to pretend that it actually did. Let's go to the phones, get your thoughts. 316-721-8255. Line number one. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy. It's Deacon.
Deacon, what's going on, sir? How are you?
It's a beautiful day, brother. It's
Every day.
22 degrees.
Yeah, you have fun with that one.
Hey, I got to tell you, the reason, and I believe this with all my heart, the reason that we have a Democrat governor right now is because it is easy to influence people when they're ignorant.
Sure. That's very true.
You know, when people are willfully ignorant, that's the only way you could be ignorant nowadays is to be willfully ignorant. You know, and when you're ignorant, people can tell you something, and you're going to believe it. You know, they didn't want to do the research and look at how much Kansas spends on education. They listen to the media going, oh, Kansas is messing over the children because we're not spending money. And we spend way more money per.
Well, you heard it yesterday. I mean, we read the story yesterday about how we topped $14,000 per pupil in the state of Kansas, which is on the higher end compared to the national average. Florida, which has way better test scores than we do, way better graduation rates than we do, they're spending it close to $9,000 to $10,000 per student. We're at $14,000. A private school here in Kansas costs anywhere from $8,000 to $11,000, and that's way more. That's way cheaper than if you were taking your kid to public school and all the tax rates that are coming out for these kids. And it's gone up again. The lies where they say that we cut education under Brownback is a lie. Looking at the numbers yesterday from 2008 to 2018 in that 10-year period, we've cut absolutely zero. There was 1 year, I believe it was like 2014, where we cut about $10 million from the state aid, but federal aid went up. And every year we've actually seen an increase every single year for the last 10-year stretch. But yet, remember, Governor Brownback cut education, and we're not educationally funding our children to make them smart and do good things. It's a lie, but you're right. They are blissfully ignorant because unless they actually look at the numbers, then they just hear the campaign ad. They hear it over and over and over again. They fall for it, and then they say, oh, I guess we need more money in our schools.
You know, and what you just touched on, the past 10 years, money's going up and up and up, but the education numbers are flat. Right. We're throwing more money at a problem, but the problem is, you know, it's not getting any better. So, you know, they need to figure out what's really going on. Because I went to school in Florida. I used to live out in a suburb of Orlando, and the schooling system there is way better, and you know, less money going into the schools. I went to school in North Carolina. They spend less money, and the education is better. I don't understand how people can keep looking at the same problem and go, oh, we'll throw more money at it. But you've got a big pile of money, and nothing's getting any better. It's kind of like, you know, the definition of a boat. It's a hole in the water you throw money in.
Sure.
You know, the education system in Kansas is a hole in the tax fund that you keep throwing money in. It's never going to fill up. It's just a big hole because they're finding ways to spend money on everything but our kids.
You know what I think we need to do? I think we need to become a little more bold because it's been mentioned throughout this discussion with the county Republican Party what we need to do better in the community sort of thing, and it was brought up about we need to educate people better, which I try and do as much as I can on the radio show. Obviously, there's a lot of people that don't listen to the radio show, which I would like them to do so, but we need to reach out and educate the community. What do you think of something like this? We go to a school district, we do a little luncheon, a little dinner, a little presentation for the teachers, have them all come out, say thanks for what you do as a teacher because you're educating our children. We really appreciate that. And then during the presentation, slip in there, oh, by the way, the administration doesn't give a rat's you-know-what about you because they've increased their administration. They've sunk more money into, AstroTurf for practice football fields, but they can't get you the resources in the classroom that you need as you're trying to do your job. So thanks for what you do, but it's the administration and it's the school district that really doesn't give a rip about you.
Exactly.
I think we should do some kind of educational thing like this.
Smack them in the face. Hey, here's the truth. There it is. The truth doesn't care about your feelings. The truth doesn't care about your political opinions.
Here's the thing, though. Do you think they'll listen to it?
No, because Kansas has a very large membership in the National Education,
sure.
or the teachers union.
Sure.
And when the union says this is what we want you to say, then they lockstep with it. It's just like a few years ago in Wichita when they said, well, we can either fire a bunch of teachers or cut everybody's pay by $100 a month or something like that. The union said, oh, you're not cutting anybody's pay, so they ended up firing teachers.
Mm-hmm.
That nobody wants to lose money, but how many people had to lose their job?
Oh, that's true. I mean, you remember, and Deacon, I appreciate it. I want to get some other calls in here. Stay warm out there, my friend. But you bring up a really great point. I mean, it reminds me of last year when we have, remember, record number of cash sitting in operational cash reserves for the districts, but then we end up having to either shorten the school year by 2 weeks or cut a librarian or two. Why? You're sitting on a record number of operational cash reserves. Yeah, but we had our school funding cut. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Lies. But it was a political statement, and they spent their money elsewhere when they probably shouldn't have, and they didn't consolidate it. As we talk about bipartisanship like this, I mean, Laura Kelly bringing in former Bill Graves individuals because the mod Republicans are where she wants to embrace. That means that it's going to be very difficult for us to get our message out as conservatives to try and say, wait a second, what you're saying is just not true, and we need to fight that. The Truth Caucus needs to grow this year, which I think it will in the House, obviously, with winning about 8 or 9 more seats in there. That's going to be great. At the same time, we need to get the message out. We need people to listen to it that don't necessarily normally listen to that perspective. We need to have the dialogue again. The question is to you, and I open this up to you, how do we get the dialogue to start again with individuals who may not want to listen or may not usually listen to say, wait a second, yes, we want to take care of teachers. We want to take care of students. We want to take care of this. We want to take care of that. It's not the blue wave that's happened. Governor Sam Brownback did not cut education. You guys did not receive less money. You just spent it more faster and in different ways to where it wasn't necessarily very efficient. what we need to do is reinvest in the local school districts. I mean, the state level, yeah, let's fight it. Let's talk about it. Let's do our thing. We also need to reinvest at the local level. Let's get some conservatives on the school board. What do you think? Let's get some more conservatives on the city council. Let's get some more conservatives on the county commission. And by that, I mean not running off conservative commissioners because we don't like them personally and trying to bring on socialists onto our county commission and think that things are going to be just fine because, well, you know, it's just a game and let's just go along with it. That's not going to fly anymore. It's time for us to buckle down and actually bring in some, not just, I don't care about conservative Republican. I'm talking about traditionalism. Common sense, at least. Just common sense. Let's go back to the phones. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Andy. Sean here.
Hey, good morning, Sean. How are you, sir? A little early for you.
Yeah, I know. Well, I woke up pretty early last 2 mornings in a row.
There you go.
That's because I fell asleep early and got a good night's sleep for a change.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you did. The little 4-year-old's been sick with the flu for the last 3 days and wakes us up about 3 times a night.
Oh, man, I had the stomach flu last week. I hadn't had it in 20 years or more. Oh, man.
Brutal stuff. This weather's killer. I tell you what. What's on your mind, Sean?
Well, I wanted to explain what I meant yesterday about pain being the greatest teacher of the truth.
Okay.
Well, yeah, you're going to see it over the next 4 years because we're going to suffer. You know, when Obama was president and the Democrats were controlling Congress, they cut us the largest tax increase in history at the time, but on the entire country. But they increased spending, too.
Sure.
In fact, they were spending more than they was taking in, so like to the tune of over $1 trillion every year, and then borrowing the money to make up the difference, which got us $10 trillion in debt in just 8 years. The reason the Brownback's tax cuts didn't work
same story.
There's 2 reasons for that. One, the overall economy nationwide sucked. And secondly, there wasn't any spending cuts because the legislature didn't cut any spending.
No, they actually increased it.
Yeah, so obviously you're going to run deficits with tax cuts. Now, if you used to cut spending to match or cut spending to less than what you're taking in taxes, then you're going to wind up having a surplus. And if you got any debt, you can use that surplus to help pay down the debt.
Well, what happened is that during a low economy, then we would have been able to coast through it and not suffer the way that we did. And then when the economy did tick back up, we would explode faster than any other surrounding state around us because we had low taxes, we had low spending, we had low burdens. And as the economy skyrocketed, then we would see massive gain here in Kansas. But
That's
that didn't
right.
happen.
Well, how do these morons explain why the economy down in Texas and why they've got a huge amount of money saved up, and they don't even have a state income tax, and we do?
Well, here's the simple answer for you, Sean, and I want to get to another call here, but here's why, and here's what the media will say why. Because they're racist.
Oh, geez.
There it is. Sean, I love it, my friend. I want to get some more calls in here before the break, but I appreciate it. You're absolutely right. Dead on. The reason that we went into this is because, again, we didn't cut. No cuts in education. No cuts in anything. We borrowed money from one department to another, trying to just coast through. It didn't work very well. We should have cut spending to be able to parallel and reflect what we were doing tax-wise. We could say this over and over and over again. They don't care, though. Here's the point. Progressives and Democrats, they don't care. They don't see any cuts happening. They think that right now we are on a skeleton crew at the state level. They think that we are on skin and bones right now, that we need to beef it up a little bit. We need to put some meat on those bones. Because right now they think we're on the skeleton crews at the state level. They think right now with the quote-unquote cuts that we didn't do, that they lie about, that right now we're at the bare minimum for our agencies and for our state government and that we have to grow. This is the difference right now. This is the division. Some people may understand this if they heard it, but the majority of Democrats, the majority of progressives, no. You try and talk about government cuts, that is the worst case scenario for them. They don't like that. They think that would be the worst case scenario is by cutting. They think that we need to grow the government, we need to invest in our programs, we need to expand our programs, and then we would be in a healthy state as long as the government continuously grows. That's the difference here. We could say this till we're blue in the face, and we do, but they're not going to listen.
Got to take a break. We got some other calls on the line. Don't go anywhere. We'll get to you as soon as we come back. Wrapping up hour number 1. Lots more to get to here on The Voice of Reason.
You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Tuesday's markets finished with the corn, wheat, soybeans lower, but the livestock complex was significantly higher. It was a mixed day in our futures markets, agriculturally speaking. December corn down 4 3/4 at 366.5. March down 4 1/2 at 377 3/4. December KC wheat down 7 at 486.5. March KC wheat down 6 at 509 1/2. Had a tough go for all the wheat markets. Chicago and Minneapolis wheat were down as well. Soybeans started okay, but didn't stay that way. November beans down 4 1/2 at 867 1/4. January beans finished down 5, 878 1/4. Each of the later months was down by 4 or 5 cents or more. The products were well off the mark as well. December soybean meal down $1.70 at 303.90. January down 170 at 305.80. December soy oil 16 points lower at 27.55. January down 16 points at 27.73. So not a good look across the soy complex. Corn, Kansas City wheat struggled on the day. We had a sharply mixed start in livestock, but things evened out and finished strong. December live cattle up 45 at 115.37. February up 75 at 118.75. Later months were all in the green. November feeder cattle up 60 at 148.97. January feeders up 3 1/4 at 146.97. Each of the later months up by more than $1, some by more than $2. So a very strong day for feeder cattle. Hogs ironed themselves out, and the early contracts finished well. December hogs up 75 at 57.30. February hogs up 65 at 62.17. Now we did see some pressure in some of the months around the corner, but early on, hogs looked good as we finished up the day. And cotton had kind of a tough day on Tuesday. December cotton down 52 at 75.86. March down 59 at 77.66. A mixed day on Tuesday as far as the ag numbers are concerned. Market update from Mid-America Ag Network.
Fall has a certain feel to it, like no other. And if you're the type of person that likes to get things done outside, there's nothing like the feel of steel in your grip to get the job done. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays has perhaps the best selection of steel power equipment in western Wichita, maybe south central Kansas. Check out the steel products that have earned the most praise from owners like you at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays, 5204 North Mays Road, where we take pride in serving you.
If your taste buds are wanting one of the best burgers from today with an atmosphere from yesteryear, then it's time to try Jack's North High Carryout. At Jack's, you can bring your heavy appetite and try one of their combo meals, or you can bring a pack of appetites for Jack's Family Pack, 10 of the best sliders in Wichita with 3 orders of fries. Mention this ad, and Jack's will give you yesterday's price of just $20. Or for something simple, try one of Jack's $5 cheeseburgers. So stop by and get a taste at 603 West 13th Street North, right across from North High School. Jack's North High Carryout.
This is Brian Davis from Davis Liquor Outlet.
And this is Blake Davis. We finally made it, the tail end of one year.
And the preparations for a new year.
At Davis Liquor Outlet, we know this is the time for gatherings.
And our 4 Wichita locations take pride in being your headquarters for adult beverages.
Whether seeking something to give as a gift upon arrival,
or stocking your bar for gatherings at your place,
look no further than Davis Liquor Outlet.
Monthly specials,
coupons online at davisliquoroutlet.com,
and each store is independently owned and operated. Davis Liquor Outlet.
Don't miss more ways to save on a new Bobcat compact track loader at White Star Machinery. Choose a cash rebate up to $10,000 or take advantage of 0% financing for 60 months with no payments for 90 days with approved credit. Put built tough priced right Bobcat equipment to work and get peace of mind with our 2-year, $2,000 full warranty. Why wait? Start saving today. Check it out on our website, whitestarmachinery.com.
White Star, get the job done.
Couple minutes at the top of the hour. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason, wrapping up hour number 1. Great to have you along for the ride. 316-721-8255. Let's sneak it into the phone call here. We got just about a minute before our next break. Good morning. What's your name? Hello.
Media.
Hey, good morning, sir. What's going on?
This is Scott.
Hey, Scott, what's going on? You got about a minute. Go for it.
Well, the media is becoming the media industrial complex because in the Constitution, they're not obligated to tell you the truth, so they just start spinning all kind of lies. And, a good example here locally is the fact that Officer Rapp is not being charged with any crime while the guy who just made a phone call is being charged with manslaughter. And then they're trying to tell Mr. Trump that he has to allow a pressman to come in when that violates his right because he's not obligated to talk to the press.
Well, I do agree with you there when it comes to Jim Acosta and CNN. I appreciate that, Scott. The trying to sue President Trump to get his White House Correspondents' Press Pass back is a little absurd. They really do take this whole, don't touch us, we're allowed to do whatever we want to a bit extreme, don't they? We'll talk about some of that and more when we come back. Appreciate the call very much. So, got to wrap up hour number one. Lots more to talk about. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
At Starseed, we're dedicated to providing our customers premium quality products and the sudden service they deserve. We've offered a diverse lineup of high-yielding seed for decades. We pride ourselves on flexibility, promptness, and superior products. Starseed is the one stop for all of your seed needs. Don't forget to ask about our custom blend packages. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at GoStarseed.com.
Plan ahead for a comfortable and safe winter by contacting Propane Central today. They'll conduct a free comprehensive check of your gas system and fill your tank and set you up with the payment and delivery options that meet your needs. Experience worry-free propane only from Propane Central. Give them a call at 316-744-6722. Again, that's 316-744-6722, or visit their website at propanecentral.com. Propane Central, the best value in propane.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, the price you need and the service you deserve. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Phil's Coins, Kansas's largest coin dealer at 9344 West Central. Phil's Coins, buying, selling, and trading with honesty and integrity.
Good Wednesday morning. The plea hearing for a 32-year-old man accused of running over a Wichita police officer last year has been continued until today. 32-year-old Justin Terrasas yesterday changed his not guilty plea to guilty in a plea deal on charges of aggravated battery and fleeing and eluding in connection to the February 2017 incident. However, the hearing was continued until this afternoon. Wichita police officer Brian Arterburn and his partner were monitoring a house in the 2100 block of South Topeka when Terrasas allegedly fled in an SUV and ran over Arterburn, who was present in the courtroom yesterday. A Goddard High School student lost his life in an early morning vehicle accident west of Wichita yesterday morning. 17-year-old Connor J. Richhuber was traveling westbound on 21st Street North from 167th Street West when his vehicle crossed over the center line and collided with an eastbound vehicle. Richhuber was deceased at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle, 55-year-old James Spear, was taken to Via Christi St. Francis Hospital in critical condition. Investigators believe icy road conditions contributed to that crash. 24-year-old Corbin Breitenbach was sentenced yesterday to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the rape and attempted murder of a girl when she was just 7 years old in West Wichita last summer. Prosecutors say that back in July of last year, Breitenbach broke into a West Wichita apartment, choked the girl until she was unconscious, and then took her to the balcony and raped her. Cake TV reports Breitenbach acted as his own attorney in the proceedings. The Wichita City Council has approved millions of dollars in incentives that could bring hundreds of new aviation jobs. KWCH-TV reports that Air Capital Flightline asked for $18 million in industrial revenue bonds for a new manufacturing facility to lease to Spirit Aerosystems. Spirit has committed to adding more than 300 new jobs, which average about $55,000 annually. I'm Rick Everett.
Yesterday, the jet for the University of Kansas was seen in Colorado Springs. Sources confirmed that it could be at least the possibility that Jeff Long was speaking with Los Angeles Rams senior offensive assistant Jed Fitch or Air Force coach Troy Calhoun. The plane returned to Lawrence shortly after 10 o'clock with no other passengers other than Jeff Long aboard. Kansas City Chiefs will play their game next Monday night in Los Angeles instead of Mexico City. The field at Azteca Stadium is not in great condition. The NFL decided to move the game back to its original home site, which is the home of the Los Angeles Rams. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Hey, Mark Walters with Armed American Radio, and I want to tell you about Rob's Gun Tech and Firearms. They're the dealer to buy, sell, trade, and even consign. Budget, the high-end, custom firearms, ammo, accessories, they've got it all and feature Wilson Combat, Guncrafters Industries, and Nighthawk Custom. Have a request? Work with their in-house gunsmith, find the right solution for you. Rob's Gun Tech offers pricing programs and discounts and proudly gives back to the Veterans Suicide Network. Learn more today at robsguntechandfirearms.com or visit them just east of 159th North on East Kellogg, where they know more than just the price.
You don't put your dirty socks back in the drawer or dirty dishes back in the cupboard, do you? Well, you shouldn't put your dirty lawnmower away for the winter either, especially when Maximum Outdoor Equipment is offering a winter service special, which includes everything your mower needs to be clean, sharpened, ready to go, and ready to mow next spring. As an incentive to get your mower in before the rush, Maximum Outdoor is offering your choice of early bird winter service discounts through December 29th. 25% off on winter service labor or free pickup and delivery within a 25-mile radius. See full details on our winter service specials and the early bird discounts available through December 29th online at MaximumOutdoor.com or give us a call at 316-943-0201. At Maximum Outdoor Equipment, we won't wash your socks or your dishes, but we'd love to clean and service your mower and get it ready for spring. Maximum Outdoor Equipment, just south of Kellogg on West Street and online at MaximumOutdoor.com.
Maximum service, maximum value, Maximum Outdoor Equipment.
The latest news from the Big Talker, KQAM.
In the midst of the deadliest, most destructive wildfire in California history, people are still waiting word on their missing loved ones in Northern California. Over 1,000 evacuees are at more than a half dozen shelters. The Butte County Sheriff says a list of the missing is being compiled for release. Day 2 of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's trial on drug gang charges is set to get underway today at U.S. District Court in Brooklyn. Correspondent Athena Jones tells us Day 1 was quite the scene.
Very, very heavy security with bomb-sniffing dogs, federal marshals, metal detectors to enter the courtroom and the courthouse. And we know that 2 jurors were dismissed yesterday. So a lot going on already just as this trial begins its second day.
President Trump may be planning a big staff shakeup. The Associated Press reports Trump is discussing replacing Chief of Staff John Kelly with Vice President Mike Pence's Chief of Staff Nick Ayers. Commerce Secretary Wilbur Ross and Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke may be on their way out, along with Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Hatman Jacks. Amazing headwear for women and men. At the Clock Tower in Delano, Hatman Jacks.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:06, it's currently 19 degrees.
It's time for Reason.
Now we can move forward and we can do something really fantastic here. If we can light the fire under our legislature, if we can get Republicans on board to do the right thing, to not play wishy-washy politics, to not coddle to the education special interests, maybe we can get our budget under control. We're now prepared to understand that everything we do, we have to do with a supermajority to override her veto, because she's going to veto just about everything that the legislature does.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 2 of the Voice of Reason, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas. On the Big Talker, 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM. We are simulcasting on TV as well. KGPT TV channel 2610. Good morning. Welcome aboard. Happy Wednesday. It's cold outside. Great to have you along for the ride. 316-721-8255. 316-721-TALK. We are, by the way, on YouTube Live as well. YouTube.com. Find KQAM Radio. Subscribe to it. We have a good amount of people subscribing already. It's still early. We are still kind of up and going with this thing. But we love it. Go on there, subscribe. You can also see the links that we share on YouTube on Facebook every single day, on KQAM on the Voice of Reason page, and that way you can like it, can link to it, can share it, can view it, can comment on it, whatever you want to do. We love that and appreciate it. Let's grow by leaps and bounds. Let's continue to educate individuals on the facts, on common sense, on reality. One thing that doesn't show any reality would be the interview that was done with USA Today as Governor-elect Laura Kelly made some really interesting comments. I find it kind of entertaining. On November 6th, I was elected the 48th governor of Kansas. I serve as our nation's third female governor, Democratic governor. Elected exactly 100 years after the first Kansas woman was elected to statewide office. Well, as long as we care about the gender thing, then that's cool. In presidential elections, Kansas is as reliably red as Dorothy's ruby red slippers. Got to throw in the nice little Kansas reference there. Well done. Making my election seem more improbable to some, but anyone who knows Kansas understands that more often than not, our story plays out far beneath polling top lines and national narratives. If you've turned in our news program or read newspapers at any point in the last 5 years, you may have encountered at least one unflattering story about Kansas, former Governor Sam Brownback, and his ill-conceived, ideologically driven tax experiment. It was a disaster for our state, causing worsening cuts in schools, massive budget deficits, credit downgrades, rural hospitals closing, and a stagnant economy. I ran for governor to undo this damage and put the day-to-day needs of Kansas families first. Wow, that's a mouthful. You know what I heard there? You honestly want to know what I heard there? I heard a whole lot of nothing. I heard the wah, 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 wah. Really? I can't. I get it. I get it. There's partisanship. There's the politics that's being played, but lie after lie after lie. The unflattering story of Governor Sam Brownback, ill-conceived, ideologically driven tax experiment. The disaster for our state causing worsening cuts in schools. Lie. Massive budget deficits because we didn't cut spending. Credit downgrades because we didn't cut spending. Rural hospitals closing. Completely untrue and false. And a stagnant economy because of the national economy and agriculture. But this is what's coming out of the media. Now, they didn't, of course, look at the other side of it and say, oh, look, we had actually a more conservative legislature get elected in Kansas as well, so the blue wave's really not happening, and she's going to have a stagnant run as governor because there's going to be a very conservative legislature with a very blue Democrat governor. But the headline from USA Today, Kansas turned blue? ? Democrats like me were elected to bring back common sense and civility. Civility like saying those ill-conceived, ideologically conservative Republicans that destroyed the state, we're going to fix it because we like civility and we hate those guys and gals. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. This is the way it's going to be for a while, right? This is the way it's going to be as we get prepared for our 2019 session.
All right, here we go.
Here we go. Let's go to the phones, 316-721-8255. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Andy, this is Helen.
Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm doing just great.
Good.
And you asked, well, why would people vote for somebody like Laura Kelly or Cortez, Miss Cortez? Well, the Lord forewarned us in 1 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 19 and 20, says, for the wisdom of this world is foolishness, which means stupidity with God. For it is written, he, God, taketh and snares and entraps the wise, the worldly wise, and their own craftiness, their own sophistry, and adroitness and cunning. 20, and again, the Lord knoweth the thoughts of the wise, that they are vain, the worldly wise, that they are vain, empty and worthless. So we've got a world full of, how is it going to be so easy for Satan to deceive the whole world, Revelation 12:9, unless the world is so stupid?
Well, there are some there are two types of individuals, and I appreciate that, Helen, very much. There are two types of individuals. There are the ones, as I've mentioned, the ones that have the best intentions but just go about it the wrong way, and there are the ones that understand there are people with bad intentions that are very open to just following and being the sheep and just kind of going along with the flow and use that to their advantage to make them feel all warm and cuddly when they actually have a different agenda. And we're starting to see that nationwide. I mean, Laura Kelly's one example of it. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is kind of a big one. Another one is Sharice Davids up in the 3rd Congressional District. According to the Kansas City Star, the question is, Sharice Davids' success proves that Johnson County is turning bluer. Now, I don't know how much more blue you can get. Johnson County is a very progressive county. Johnson County has been very blue for a long time. Johnson County is, the Republicans there are the very moderate Republicans. So if you want to talk about deceiving, if you say something, again, long enough, and we had the caller in the last hour that used this example perfectly. Jim had mentioned this, that, hey, you know what, if you say it over and over and over again, that is during war, when we may be winning battles, we may be winning conflicts, but when the statement comes out and says, oh, we're losing, we're doing terrible things, that's the mentality. You come home from the war and you get shunned, you get spit at, you get thrown things at you. Because they just don't like what you're doing, because they have this mentality from the media that it was a failure and that we've done horrible, terrible things. If you say it long enough that we've had cuts in education, it's not true. We've read the numbers, but if you say it enough times, people will believe it, even to the point to where the national media and everybody outside of Kansas, where they have the microscope on us and they say, hey, what's Kansas doing? Then you hear a story like this and, oh, we're bringing back civility. We're bringing back civility and common sense in the state of Kansas by raising taxes, raising spending, lying about cuts in our state budget. Look, if we ran into a deficit, why did we run into a deficit? Because we didn't cut. We were spending more than we were bringing in tax-wise. So how did we cut spending if she says we did? How did we do it? If the numbers show that we've actually increased from like $3.06 billion every year up to like over $4 billion now in a 10-year span, where was the cut? Where was the cut? You can't just say it and just assume it. Look, we live in a crazy time today. There's something called the interweb. And at any time of the day, and anyway, what you can do is you can Google something and you can research it yourself. And you can find stories. And you can find stories from both sides of the aisle. And what you can do is you can compare based on facts, not based on someone's opinion. If you Google Kansas education funding, you'll hear one story from the mainstream media that says, we cut, the schools are suffering, and Governor Brownback is a terrible, evil, horrible human being that hates puppy dogs and children. That's one story. Now, is there any fact in there? No, you have someone's word. Are you going to take someone's word on it? If you've heard it enough times and you say, yeah, okay, that verifies what I've been hearing over and over and over again. The mainstream media told me. Or you can hear something else, and you can see a story come up from the Kansas Policy Institute, or you can see a podcast from the Voice of Reason, or you can hear someone else talking about this and say, wait a second, actually we didn't. Here's the number. In 2008, we spent this much. In 2018, 10 years later, we spent this much from federal aid, from state aid, from local aid, from property taxes. This is how much the money has. This is how much setting an operational cash reserve compared to then, compared to now, and it's up. We actually spent more money, so it's not true. Now, between those two stories, what are you going to believe? If you do the research. If you go on that little thing called the interweb and you research it, you can find out. And you can look and say, as a total, and let's not even focus on education, because I know people get sick and tired of hearing about that. Let's talk about the state budget as a whole, as a general. How much did we spend then, and how much are we spending now? Compared to the tax receipts, how much did we bring in? Compared to how much did we bring in now? Now, we can debate about why the tax receipts were so low, because, well, the tax cuts, that was one, obviously, because we started taxing people at a lower rate, and then why the economy didn't grow. It could be either the fault of Brownback, it could be fault of the Obama economy, it could be a fault of the crash in the commodity prices in agriculture and oil and natural gas. It could be a mixture of all of those things. I mean, that's up for debate. Sure, let's discuss that. That's an interesting theory to think about as we go on about the day. But when it comes down to it, the reality was that we saw less money come into the state, and we were spending more than we brought in. Why is that? Because we didn't cut it in order to compensate for that. And we ran into problems. Now, if we didn't cut, where did the cuts come from for education? And if you look at the numbers, when you see they actually didn't cut, then how do we get off saying that? But again, people don't use the interweb, as convenient as it is. And they just hear it and say, oh, okay. And now Laura Kelly's going on national media on USA Today. If you turned into our news programs or read our newspapers at any point in the last 5 years, you may have encountered at least one unflattering story about Kansas, former Governor Sam Brownback, and his ill-conceived, ideologically driven tax experiment, which was a disaster for our state, causing worsening cuts to schools, massive budget deficits, credit downgrades, rural hospitals closing, and a stagnant economy. I ran for governor to undo the damage and put the day-to-day needs of Kansas families first. I did not campaign on partisan issues. According to Laura Kelly, I campaigned on family issues. Okay. Instead of being instead of being distracted by political fights, my team focused on schools and jobs, as well as the cost of health care, food, and child care. Let me tell you something. Kansas is not ready for progressivism. And as they hear the story about Sharice Davids and Johnson County turning blue, which you really can't turn more blue than Johnson County already, you just have a very weak, moderate Republican Party and a very strong progressive blue party, which is why she won. But Kansas is not turning blue. Kansas just turned away from Kobach, and Kobach, from what we've heard, didn't do the best job in his campaign to get out the vote. We've said this over and over, but as we win more seats in the state legislature in this area, the same place where he lost that was the swing area, means that people didn't necessarily turn against Republicans or conservatives. They just turned against Chris Kobach as an individual for whatever reason, and we can have that discussion as well. But that's what happened. It wasn't because we embraced blue waves. It wasn't because we embraced Laura Kelly. It was more of an anti-Kobach thing than it was a pro-Laura Kelly thing. And that's what happened. She is a very weak candidate. She is a very weak governor. She has very weak platforms that are very much not accepted in the state of Kansas, which is why we saw more conservatives win in the primaries during Republican state races, which is why we saw more Republicans win over Democrats in our legislature in the general election. But Andy, look it up in the Kansas City area where Democrats beat Republicans. The Republicans were already blue. They voted predominantly with Democrats in a quote-unquote bipartisan way. Why not actually show their true colors and have them be blue? We didn't lose anything. There was a story from, I believe it was the Topeka Capital Journal yesterday, that said, oh, look, actually, Democrats end up winning a few more. Actually, we kind of balanced out. No one gained anything. No one lost anything in the state legislature because Democrats won some, Republicans won some, and then there we go. We're back to normal. No, we're not. Because Republicans that did lose, they didn't vote with Republicans anyways, and the ones that did win, they're more conservative, so the legislature swung to the right. Now, why would we swing to the right with a progressive extremist Democrat governor? Because it wasn't for the progressive values. It was anti whatever the Republican currently was doing. Whether it was, some say it was the pot thing, some say it was the lack of organization from the campaign, some say that it was just his background and his history, some say that he cared more about the national media stuff. Whatever the case was, which we can nitpick some of that, it doesn't really matter anymore. It wasn't a pro-Laura Kelly agenda. Let's take a phone call here, shall we? Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Hey, Andy, it's me again.
Hey, go for it. What you got?
I got to respond to something that Helen said, which I'm going to affectionately refer to her as the church lady.
Okay.
But it does say, I believe, in the book of Proverbs that, and I'm going to paraphrase, that there's no excuse for willful ignorance.
Sure.
So, and it also says in the Bible, and I'm going to paraphrase this too, put it in words that people can understand, is that sometimes innocent people have to wind up suffering because of the stupidity of others. Well, I'm tired of suffering from the stupidity of others, and instead, and so I'm not going to do it. What I am going to do is just take pleasure in their suffering, because sometimes that's the only way you learn. That's why I said pain is the greatest teacher of the truth, because some people are hard learners. It takes them having to suffer the consequences of a stupid mistake in order for them to learn.
Here's the crazy thing, though. They're so ingrained in their ways, though, at times that even when they do suffer it, then they find a way to pawn it off and blame somebody else and embrace their ideas that led to the suffering. If you believe and vote for socialism like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Bernie Sanders, when they begin to tax you because they want free goodies and your free goodies end up being really junk value quality items like health care or whatever else they want to make free goodies, or everybody gets a college education for free, and then the college education means essentially nothing because everybody's got one, then they will continue to find a way to pawn off and blame. They live in not only to the ignorance, it's the cognitive bias to where they live in that ignorance to the point to where even when facts hit them in the face, they don't care. They will continue to blissfully live in that nice little fantasy land, and they will continue to find some way to go after the ones who are actually trying to come up with a different idea because they are so ingrained. It's called that cognitive bias. They have their bias regardless of whatever facts are thrown in their face. And it's sad because we've become that divisive. We can't have the rational discussion and someone say, okay, yeah, you know what? I love the idea philosophically, theoretically, about some type of free health care, but, realistically, it's not a good idea. I love the nice little idea of utopianism and the free goodies. I love that idea, but at the same time, I realize that in a realistic world, it's not going to happen, or it's not a good idea. They're never going to say that. Never. If they live that way and they believe those things, they will believe it to the ends of the earth, and nothing can change their mind. And I guess you're right. I mean, it is, you just sit back and kind of enjoy it and just kind of laugh at them. But it's sad. It's sad because not only are they just doing really ridiculous things, they're bringing us down with them. And we're trying to just yell and scream and jump and try and make people realize, hey, let's not go down that road. Got to take a break, 24 minutes past the hour. When we come back, by the way, we're going to have 2 turkey drops today from the KQAM and Yoder Meats Turkey Drop. It's going to be happening here very soon. Stay tuned in for that right here on The Voice of Reason. Lots more to get to, more phone calls along the way as well, right here on The Voice of Reason on KQAM.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Ag News from Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Craig Mead. Well, we all know that trade relations between the United States and China have been strained for the last several months. There have been some tentative steps to resolve those conflicts. USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue says the ball is really in China's court when it comes to trade with the United States.
And I'm hoping that China will see the error of its ways as far as intellectual property theft and transfer, and where we can resume normal trading relationships.
Secretary Perdue spoke to reporters in New Jersey this week. He says whether or not trade meetings actually happen,
that's really up to China. If they could change the things they're doing that we find objectionable, then we'd start trading right away. But they haven't shown a willingness to do that.
The G20 summit in Argentina is set for November 30th, December 1st. It is still yet to be seen if the United States and China actually do meet during that summit. In other news, the next farm bill is the top priority for Senate Agriculture Chairman Pat Roberts, as many begin speculating if he will make another bid for his Senate seat in 2 years. Roberts, who has chaired both the House Agriculture Committee and the Senate Agriculture Committee during his tenure, remains focused on finishing the 2018 Farm Bill. However, the current atmosphere in Washington could delay the Farm Bill into 2019. McClatchy News reports that if Roberts does run again for his Senate seat, he may face a primary challenger as he did in 2014. If the presently 82-year-old lawmaker retires, the candidates for his seat could be Roger Marshall, who currently represents the 1st District of Kansas in the U.S. House, or Kevin Yoder, who lost his House seat during the midterm election. Agriculture Committee ties run deep in Kansas, as we all know. Marshall serves on the House Ag Committee. Yoder served on the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture. Also, Jerry Moran serves on the Senate Appropriations Subcommittee on Agriculture. Ag News, Mid-America Ag Network.
Jewelry Savers is rapidly approaching 50 years, serving the Wichita and South Central Kansas area. Jewelry Savers takes pride in supplying the different generations of all their sparkle needs, whether it's the best in custom jewelry designs, a collection of some of Kansas' most sought-after bridal jewelry, or quality repairs that you know are done right, in many cases with next-day turnaround. It's all the sparkle you'll ever need. Jewelry Savers at K96 and Greenwich Road.
This is Phil Martinez from Phil's Coins. It's sad when it happens, but there are still businesses out there that will try the old bait and switch. They'll promise you one thing to get you in and then deliver far less, or something totally different once you're there. At Phil's Coins, when we say we buy, sell, and trade with honesty and integrity, that's exactly what we mean. In fact, I encourage you to shop the competition first. It will make doing business with Phil's Coins like a walk in the park. Phil's Coins, 9344 West Central.
Good morning. This is Kerry at the El Dorado Livestock Auction. This week we'll be having a good run of cattle. It'll be a special cow sale. Some of our featured consignments this week, 50 head of Hereford Red Angus crossbred heifers. That'll be calving for over 45 days starting in January, and they're bred to Red Angus bulls. We'll have 25 mostly black cows that'll be 3 to 6 years old that are heavy bred to Black Angus bulls. 60 pairs, 40 of them will be fall pairs with calves on them that are around 60 days old or so. The balance of them will be cows that will be bred back that have bigger summer calves on them. If you want to see a complete consignment list, www.eldoradolivestock.com. And if you have any questions, give us a call at 316-320-3212.
We just got another subscriber on YouTube. Thank you for that. Appreciate it very much. More and more jumping on there. If you'd like to check it out, it's kind of cool. You can see us on TV, listen to us on radio, and on your way to work, or if you're in the office and you have your computer, just jump onto youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. You can stream us either at home, on your laptop, on your smartphone, on your whatever, or on your computer at work. Doesn't matter. Check us out, youtube.com, KQAM Radio. Go on and check it out. And thanks again for signing up. We have about 45 seconds at the bottom of the hour, but let's sneak in a phone call, shall we? Good morning. What's your name?
Andy, hey, this is Doug.
Doug, what's going on, sir? How are you?
Hey, good morning, man. What we need in the national constitution is an amendment that says the people have a right and responsibility for their own welfare.
I like that. Their own welfare. You have the responsibility and you have the option to do whatever you want to do, or remember the consequences of it. And if you end up failing, then, that's on you. You have to take care of your own sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about legalizing cannabis or whatnot? Hey, if the Republican Party would jump onto the libertarian bandwagon and drop the corporate bandwagon, they could actually do some stuff in this country.
Oh, very interesting. Doug, I appreciate it. We got to take a break here, but I think that a lot of things are going that way. It's going to, look, with that issue especially, it's going to be happening. It's just who's going to be jumping on board with it. Bottom of the hour news coming up. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The latest from the KQAM News Center.
The death toll from California's most lethal wildfire on record continues to climb. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honier with new information late last night.
And so today, an additional 6 human remains were recovered, which brings the total to 48. All 6 of those remains were located in Paradise, and they were located within homes.
The National Guard has been called in to help in the search for remains in Northern California. One pilot dead, another injured after a T-38C Talon training jet crashed at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas last night. No IDs or information on the surviving pilot's condition released. Hamas says the resignation of Israel's defense minister after a 2-day bout of heavy fighting led to a ceasefire is a, quote, political victory for Gaza. Global shares mostly lower in their Wednesday trading after the steepest drop in oil prices in more than 3 years put Wall Street in a selling mood yesterday. Stock futures this morning are mixed. I'm Michael Toscano.
A good guest never arrives empty-handed. I never arrive empty-armed. Party with Gordman's. Find great hostess gifts and deck out your big to-do. Discover the perfect choice for every cozy, happy, festive, merry, sparkly celebration. Toast your holiday savings on go-to gifts, big brands, and decor for every moment from now until New Year's. Save even more. You can earn $5 G rewards for every 100 points you add up. Plus, store card holders earn double points. Gordman's. Bigger holiday deals, smaller prices.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. The Kansas Bureau of Investigation says a man is in critical condition following an officer-involved shooting in Pratt. Around 3:45 yesterday afternoon, Pratt police received a call about a man on the street who was waving a gun. Upon arrival, authorities found an armed man outside of a residence identified as 38-year-old Rene Prieto of Pratt. The KBI says as officers approached Prieto, he fired at one of the officers, and 3 officers then returned fire, striking Prieto. He was taken to a hospital in Wichita and is currently listed in critical condition. The KBI says no officers were hurt in the incident. The fire that burned down a Paxico winery last Thursday has been ruled as arson and is believed to have been started by the victim who died in the flames. Authorities identified the victim and alleged arsonist as 32-year-old Evan Jolly of Kansas City, Missouri. Authorities say Jolly was not associated with the business. Mid-America Network News.
At Starseed, we realize every farmer and rancher has a passion for conservation, which is why we offer conservation seeds. This season, let Starseed assist with your CRP, buffers, waterways, roadside projects, and any wildlife project you have in mind. Starseed works closely with landowners, dealers, and government agencies to ensure the best quality seed for all of your conservation needs. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
If you're active military, a veteran, or part of our law enforcement community, bring in your active or inactive military ID or an active law enforcement ID to any Riverside Cafe location. Buy 2 meals and a drink and get the second meal of equal or lesser value for free. Again, for any military vets or law enforcement, buy 1 meal and 2 drinks and get the second meal at no charge. A special offer from a special place, Riverside Cafe.
Riverside Cafe in Wichita at 9125 West Central or 13th and Bidding, or in Derby at 824 North Baltimore.
Celebrate the season with great deals on the world's best-selling off-road lineup during the Polaris Holiday Sales Event. Get low financing and rebates up to $2,000 on hardworking Rangers, unstoppable sportsmen, versatile Generals, and high-performance racers. See Wichita Tractor today or go online to wichitatractor.com. Offers valid in U.S. through 12/31 of 18, subject to credit approval. Rebates and financing vary by model, ENG, or see dealer for details. Always wear a helmet and never drink and ride.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 7:35, it's currently 20 degrees.
This segment of The Voice of Reason on KQAM brought to you by Riverside Cafe, home of the 3-pound burger and hand-cut fries, plus breakfast all day long. 2 Wichita locations and 824 North Baltimore in Derby. Riverside Cafe. You're listening to The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Right on! Let's do it! Rock that world! Rock that world!
Give him a call at 721-TALK.
You know, we just have way too much fun on the program. We are expanding our range each and every day. We are expanding our knowledge, hopefully, every single day. We are having more fun than what we should be each and every day and advancing conservatism on a daily basis. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. We do have our county update. We do this every Wednesday. And let's jump right to it as we have Sedgwick County Commissioner Mr. Jim Howell on the line, as we do every Wednesday. Jim, good morning, sir. How are you?
Well, very good morning to you, Andy. Good to be here.
Yeah, it's good. Great to be with you. It is cold outside, but nonetheless still a wonderful day.
Well, you know, it's this cold snap has really surprised a lot of us. I'm not ready for this bitter cold. I'm just looking forward to some warm weather next week.
Well, I don't remember it's the last time it's been this cold this early in the season. I mean, last year we didn't even get a snow, I don't think, last year until I want to say January or February. So this has been a little odd for us, I think.
I know a lot of people who had their sprinkler systems not ready for this, or their boats not winterized, and so a little bit of damage perhaps happened. And I guess the business opportunities for a few people are going to be there. So
yeah, way to go on that one.
Yeah.
I like it. So, well, today's county commission meeting as usual, and you guys have a little bit different meeting. What's usually the theme as of this point in the session, going into the end of the year before the new individuals take over and the legislative session starts? I know you guys are working on kind of your legislative agenda, but what's kind of the theme that you guys usually go through for the next month? Because it's kind of hit or miss with a lot of the holidays as well, isn't it?
It is. We only have 5 meetings in the commission between now and when the next commission is seated. And, of course, working around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And so our schedule gets a little bit strange. We miss a couple of things here and there in terms of what would be normal meeting dates, but we're going to have to adjust our schedule just a little bit.
Sure.
We are doing some wrapping up. We're trying to get ready for the legislative session in January. So, for example, yesterday in our staff meeting, we talked for about an hour about our legislative priorities. What do we want to move forward? What do we feel like are things we can get done? So we had a very robust discussion yesterday on the staff meeting, which, by the way, we do record those. We don't televise them, but we do record those and put them on our YouTube channel as well. So if people are interested in what we're talking about, we want people to know that that's also available for people to listen in.
Very good.
Anyway, that's it. We got some, I think, today's meeting really is kind of a lot of things have kind of come together to make our meeting today is going to be very long, I think. A lot of issues. You talked with Brian Fry yesterday about Spirit Jobs, some IRBs that they're considering. Well, that's one of the few things that the county gets to vote on. We don't, sometimes the city issues IRBs, sometimes the county does, but we do have, since it does have a tax impact on the county, we have to sign off on it, so to speak, and approve a tax abatement for those IRBs for that initiative. So that's on our agenda this morning. So there's some jobs that ties to that, of course. We have some normal things. We have building code update today. We've got the quarterly financial report. Some people think it's kind of boring, but really it's very important.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. The quarterly report for the budget for the county, how is it looking? Are we still in pretty good shape right now?
I think we're doing really, really well. They do provide a document people can get if they want to see it. It's available here at the county, but it's a nice publication that kind of shows a snapshot of what we're doing. But as I look through that, from my perspective, it looks like our budget's performing very well. The county's always been pretty conservative in terms of we'll use 2 terms. We use the word budget and forecast. Forecast is what we actually expect to do. Budget means what's authorized. And usually forecast is pretty close to what reality is. And so there's usually leftover money at the end of the year. And this year is the same way. We've got money that was authorized to be spent that was not spent. And this is the time of year where we might actually consider some special, projects type of, maybe one-time spending for things like last year we did $200,000 for the dock program, which, by the way, I read yesterday the dock B-29 was finally put into its new home, a hangar that was built out by the airport, but the county donated $200,000 last year for that. So that's the type of thing that might come up this time of year. We've got a number of considerations. We're doing some some budget transfers because we've got money left over in a salary fund that is in the same a part of the umbrella, but they've got some things that popped up that they need money for certain things. I've got the details here on my desk somewhere. They're buried here. But the reality is that they're not asking for us to go find new money. They're just simply saying we have unspent money in the salary of our budget. We like to be able to have the permission to move it over to buy these certain things we feel like we need. And so we're allowing that to happen potentially with a vote today. So that's the type of thing that we see at the end of the year that's kind of typical. But, of course, today we have, we haven't had a meeting like this for a little while. There's a lot of things on today's meeting that are kind of unique. I already mentioned the building codes. We're updating the mechanical building codes. We usually go in 3-year cycles. There's numbers of different kinds of trades, whether it be electrical or plumbing, and this time it's a mechanical building code. So we're updating that, again, on the 3-year cycle, and there's a number of changes we make. People don't know this, but county commissioners actually can amend the building codes to make it fit what we think is best for our community. And so we have some changes in there that we think are important. It gets really into the weeds, getting into the details of that. I can do that if you want, but
well, just kind of generally talk about. I mean, just kind of the changes you guys are looking at right now.
Well, for example, in the updated building code, you're supposed to have a 4-inch dryer vent, and you can go 45 feet from the dryer. But we do allow that vent to be squashed, if you will, and so it fits inside of a 2x4 wall. So a 2x4 wall, of course, has a 3.5-inch space between the sheetrock, but a 4-inch vent doesn't fit. But the vent is a metal pipe that can be squashed to fit inside there. So we do allow that in Sedgwick County. Some places don't. In some places, you have to build a little bump out around that duct, and of course, it's ugly. So there's just little things like that.
Here's the sad part to me, though, is that really we have to have a regulation on something like that in the first place. Come on,
I know.
Come on. Who cares?
Well, whether or not you allow screws inside that duct, we allow people to tape that duct together so there's no screws that penetrate into the airflow, because that penetration into the airflow causes the lint and things in the air to get caught up and ends up clogging the duct. And so we make a change on the screws being, so we allow taping of that duct, and we don't really want to see the screws in that duct. So little things like that, those are decisions that are made by, believe it or not, the county commission.
Well,
so
get rid of those
people
regulations.
don't know we do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Get rid of them. Wipe them out. We don't need that kind of stuff. Build your daggone house. Do what you need to do. Leave us. The screw's going through the airflow. Come on.
Well, the good news is,
you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use camouflage duct tape the next time I build my house, and that way everybody can look how beautiful that is.
Well, the good news is I think, generally speaking, we are more lenient and less regulatory than the rest of the nation. So if I was going to summarize and characterize Sedgwick County, we are in the direction that you would like, Andy.
Well, that is good news, and you're right. I mean, we are in a good shape here. It's just frustrating with it. That's the kind of stuff that we have to deal with. I mean, last year, I want to say it was around this time when you guys are working on the plumbing and the piping regulation for the different pipes and the size of pipes, and it's just like, good golly, let's just, if it works, let's do it. If it doesn't work, then people would be foolish to use it, kind of thing. And why? I just don't get the little tiny minuscule regulations on why this has to be done a certain way like that.
Well, that's a good question, but it goes back many decades. We've had plumbing codes and electrical codes. They're intended to make sure the thing, whether you want to buy it or not, I guess that's another whole philosophical question. But we want things to work. We want things to be, not regulated to make them more expensive, but to make them, for health and safety. And electrical probably is the biggest one on this. You don't want it, to have a hidden danger and have someone be electrocuted because of a hidden danger in their home, or carbon monoxide poisoning, for example.
Sure.
So, venting of a hot water tank is critically important, that it's done in a way that doesn't harm people and hurt their health.
Right.
Those are two good examples, and really every one of these building codes has a connection back to health and safety, one way or the other. You don't want to have to, you purchase a house and find out you've got a shoddy workmanship that's buried inside the walls, and it's going to cost you a lot of money to go back and fix things because somebody was cheap and buried their decisions in the walls in such a way that,
well, I will
you as a buyer weren't protected in the process.
Oh, sure. Well, here's the thing, and let me tell you a little story about that. When we bought our house, we ended up running into that type of situation because when we first bought the house and all the rains we get in the springtime, our basement was flooding for the first year really, really bad. I mean, we would get crazy amounts of water. Come to find out, as we would look a little bit deeper, there were cracks in the foundation, the bottom of the concrete, that they had covered up with construction, like building a workbench against the wall with a fake wall over it. And as we tore that stuff out, there were cracks in the foundation of the concrete where the water was leaking, and instead of actually fixing it, they built around it so we wouldn't see it. And now we're running into that. And now we've gotten it pretty much fixed because we did that last summer. But that's the kind of stuff that we ran into, is that people would actually build around things to cover problems up as opposed to actually just addressing them.
Well, that's the thing that building codes and inspections usually will try to catch and stop. So, there's a lot of stuff that's there. You may not see the value in it when it's happening, but when people purchase a home, they want to know that it's a safe home, that the basement's not going to flood, the drainage makes sense, the roof's going to work. There's things in there that are designed to. So I guess you can go away from those things, but you have in terms of someone purchasing that property down the road, it seems like they could be harmed because they don't have a knowledge of what's been allowed to happen that's maybe not visible,
Sure.
and yes, it's going to be a problem down the road. So I see both sides of this. I am glad. I guess again, let me just say I'm glad that Sedgwick County takes a position that we are less regulatory and we do things that cost less money.
Yes.
And gives more freedom to most of these codes. And so when I look at these code adoptions, one of my first questions is there anything more stringent or more regulatory than we have before? And that's my first question. And the answer is no. Everything on this is exactly what we had before. And there's a couple of little changes here, but here's why these things are changing. And we are moving in a way that's less regulatory, more common sense. So like the things I brought up this morning, I think are common sense.
Sure.
And so without us advocating for that, it wouldn't happen. And so I'm proud of the fact that we are less regulatory and more freedom and more common sense here in Sedgwick County than many places across the country.
Sure. Well, we are, I tell you what, and as you mentioned, I mean, it's not necessarily the biggest items, biggest hard-hitting agenda items today, but it is extremely important, and hopefully people do pay attention to this stuff as well. Real quickly, we got about a minute left before we got to wrap up, but the legislative agenda you guys are working on, where are you with that right now, and how is it looking as you guys start to work on what you're going to be working with our legislators this year?
Well, probably the big issues are whether we're going to, how we're going to handle a fire district. There's obviously some urgency to find out what we're going to do going forward. The fire district is, I think we do a tremendous job in Sedgwick County, but long-term wise, we're going to have to find a solution long-term to manage the financial forecast of this. Right now, we've solved a lot of problems, and so for the next 7 to 9 years, things really aren't going to be that bad as long because we really fixed a lot of things. But at some point, we're going to have to deal with this, and so we're looking at long-term solutions to that potential. Maybe consolidation is part of the answer. Maybe reconfiguration of how we do the fire district. That's a lot of good questions, but a lot of this does tie into legislative oversight and how we can solve this problem. So we've got a number of things on our agenda to deal with that. That's probably number one. I can't think of anything else that's really compares with that. But I would tell you, in terms of our agenda today, though, I would tell you we do have a code of ethics on the agenda for us to consider today. We also have an issue with this quorum. Right now, as it sits, we can pass something with as few people as one. One commissioner could pass something theoretically if the situation was just exactly right. But I have a resolution to make it so that nothing can pass without at least 3 commissioners voting for the item to do business. And so that's on the agenda today as well. And so it'll be a very interesting meeting today.
Well, that is going to be fun. I'm glad you're working on that because it's scary to go down the road thinking that 2 of the county commissioners could be effectively or essentially irrelevant if we continue to go the way that we've been going. So good. Hopefully that goes through today, and hopefully people can speak up and actually make their voice heard on that issue as well. Sedgwick County Commissioner Jim Howell, it's always a pleasure, my friend. You enjoy. It's going to be a cold one today. Stay warm, but we'll look forward to chatting with you again next Wednesday.
Thank you, Andy. We'll talk to you soon.
Hey, always a good time. Got to take a break. 10 minutes at the top of the hour. This is The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Live cattle futures finished Tuesday with most contracts 45 to 85 cents higher. Feeder cattle futures were sharply higher on Tuesday. January settled $4.30 off the intraday low. The CME Feeder Cattle Index was down 70 cents November 12th at 149.89. November feeder futures expire Thursday. Wholesale boxed beef values lower Tuesday afternoon. Choice boxes were down $1.47 at $214.08. A select cutout value $1.41 lower at $198.98. USDA estimated federally inspected cattle slaughter 119,000 head for Tuesday. Week to date so far 230,000 head, 8,000 less than last week. Lean hog futures settled yesterday with 40 cent to 75 cent gains in the front months. Deferred contracts were steady to 30 cents lower. The lean hog index was down another 90 cents from the previous day, 61.87 November 9th. USDA pork carcass cutout value down 14 cents Tuesday afternoon at $70.69. The national base hog cash value was down $1.33, a weighted average of 51.61. Federally inspected hog slaughter 478,000 head on Tuesday, bringing the weekly total to 919,000 head. That's 34,000 head lower than last week. Refocusing now, corn, soybeans, wheat. Corn futures are showing fractional gains after closing 4 to 5 cents lower Tuesday. Soybeans are 4 to 6 cents higher currently after losses of a nickel or more on Tuesday. And wheat futures are 2 to 3 cents in the green this morning, depending on where you look. As of this moment, December corn is up 3/4 of a cent at 3.67 1/4. December Kansas City wheat is up 3 1/4 currently at 4.89 3/4. March is up 3 at 5.12 1/2. November soybeans up 4 1/2 at 8.71 3/4. January soybeans up 5 3/4 at 8.84. December soybean meal is up $1.10 at 3.05 even. December soy oil is up 1 point at 27.56. Market update from Mid-America Ag Network.
Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat. Time to load up and head to Mound Ridge for the Christmas Arts and Craft Fair, Saturday, November 17th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Greer Auditorium. November 17th, 9 to 2 for the Mound Ridge Christmas Arts and Craft Fair.
Picture yourself in a hat.
Anyone can look good in a hat.
Whether making a fashion statement or dressing for activities,
Hatman Jack's has the finest selection in the state.
Driving caps, western hats, fedoras.
fur and leather hats, all very affordably priced.
And ladies, we are your hat headquarters.
Come in and see why hat lovers from around the nation make Hatman Jack's their destination.
At the Clock Tower in Delano.
Hatman Jack's, 601 West Douglas.
We live in a digital world. With the convenience of staying connected, it's critical to protect your digital identity. Here are some helpful tips from AARP Kansas and the AARP Fraud Watch Network. Use strong, unique passwords or passphrases for every site you visit. Never conduct sensitive financial or personal activities when connected to public Wi-Fi. And turn off your Bluetooth when you're not using it to keep your device secure. Learn more at aarp.org/FraudWatchNetwork. Paid for by AARP.
Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat. Time to load up and head to Mound Ridge for the Christmas Arts and Craft Fair, Saturday, November 17th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Greer Auditorium. November 17th, 9 to 2 for the Mound Ridge Christmas Arts and Craft Fair.
Call now at 721-8255 and guess where your Thanksgiving turkey dropped. Right here on 1480 KQAM.
Oh, man, see, that's what I'm talking about. It's time for us to do one of the two today. We're going to do two of them today, but for our KQAM turkey drop presented by Yoder Meats, 3 locations in Wichita, 1 in Yoder, online as well at yodermeatsks.com. Let's start getting the phones lit up, as here's how the game works every single day. I give you 3 businesses, our great participating sponsors here on the program for our KQAM turkey drop. And you guess which one it is. If you get it right, then you get yourself a Thanksgiving turkey. If you get it wrong, we move on to the next person. You really have a really easy choice here. It's a 1 in 3 shot, and let's go to it to get your KQAM turkey drop presented by Yoder Meats today here on KQAM. The options for you today as we continue. Here are your 3 options for round number 1 today. Again, we're going to do this twice. One now, one at the end of the 8 o'clock hour. For today, your choice between Continental Truck Accessories, Athena Jewelry, and the Spectacle Shop. Your thoughts, Continental Truck Accessories, Athena Jewelry, and the Spectacle Shop. Which one do you think it's going to land on today for our KQAM turkey drop presented by Yoder Meats? Let's go to the phones here, line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
It's Mike.
Hey, good morning, Mike. How are you, sir?
Good. How about yourself?
Hey, we are living the dream, my friend. All right, your thoughts here. Can you guess the right place today for the turkey to drop on? Either Continental Truck Accessories, Athena Jewelry, or the Spectacle Shop. Mike, which one do you think is going to land on today?
I'm thinking Continental Truck Accessories.
Continental Truck Accessories. Let's go right to the helicopter here, flying high above. Are we going to get a winner right off the bat, which has been the trend lately? What's that flying out of the sky?
Oh, no.
Oh! A negative on that one, Ghost Rider. Well, appreciate it very much, Mike. Try and call back in in hour number 3 and see if you can't win again on that one. Let's go back to it. Line number 2. Good morning. What's your name? How are you?
Good morning. This is Bill.
Bill, how are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine, Les Nesson. How you doing?
Hey, very good. Love it. All right, you really have a 50-50 chance of winning today with Athena Jewelry or the Spectacle Shop as Continental Truck Accessories dropped off. Bill, which one do you think it's going to land on today?
Let's go with Athena.
With what? Which one?
The first one.
The first one, Athena Jewelry. All right, let's go ahead and give it another shot here. The helicopter's flying high above. Will it drop today on this one again on Athena Jewelry?
Oh, no.
Oh, no on that one, Bill. Sorry for that one, my friend. Call back in hour number 3. Try it again. We got one more call here and one more option. Really, it's hopefully you can get this one right, because if not, then we got to we'll start it all over. But we tried Continental Truck Accessories. We tried Athena Jewelry. Now we have to try one more with the Spectacle Shop. Let's go to line number 3. Good morning. What's your name?
This is Rhonda.
Good morning, Rhonda. How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Very good. All right. You really have one option left. Where's it going to land today?
The Spectacle Shop.
Oh, the Spectacle Shop. Oh, I wonder where it could possibly land. Let's go back to the helicopter.
Right.
As it flies high above, what could possibly be falling out of the sky today? Yes, there it is. I love it. We have our winner right there, Rhonda. I love it. Congratulations. You yourself won a Thanksgiving turkey presented by KQAM, Yoder Meats, and the Spectacle Shop. Hang on the line. We'll get your information right here, but we have our winner for this one. Don't worry. We got another one coming up in hour number 3. We'll do this all over again as we have many more to give away throughout the rest of this weekend, even into the beginning of next week. So stay tuned in for that. But thanks again, and congratulations, Rhonda, for your Thanksgiving turkey. And again, these are fresh. These are beautiful turkeys. These are they're not frozen. You know Yoder Meats. They have quality meat that's fantastic. You have here's how you do it. You get your gift card. You go to Yoder Meats. You get to choose the turkey you want. Probably still moving to some degree. Probably still moving, but you get your Thanksgiving turkey. Thanks again to hat tip to Yoder Meats and the Spectacle Shop for that one right here on KQAM. We'll take a break, wrap up hour number 2 when we come back. Phil Kerpen with the American president of American Commitment. He's going to talk to us about the change in leadership when it comes to the federal level, the House of Representatives. Who's going to be the House Minority Leader for the Republican side, and what the legislative session may look like at the federal level. That and more coming up, plus your phone calls. It's going to be a lot more to get to here on The Voice of Reason. Hour number 3 right around the corner. Stay here.
Hi, this is Steve Anthemides with Athena Jewelry. My dad opened the doors of our family jewelry business almost 50 years ago, and today we are the longest standing independent jewelry store in Wichita. People tell us we treat them like family, and in addition to a massive inventory, we take a lot of pride in creating unique, one-of-a-kind pieces, as well as same-day sizing and repair in most cases. So take this as my personal invitation to come see us, Athena Jewelry, 219 East Douglas in Wichita.
At Starseed, we're dedicated to providing our customers premium quality products and the sudden service they deserve. We've offered a diverse lineup of high-yielding seed for decades. We pride ourselves on flexibility, promptness, and superior products. Starseed is the one stop for all of your seed needs. Don't forget to ask about our custom blend packages. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
This is a Steckline communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center, brought to you by Heartland Avionics and JD Aviation, your aircraft maintenance partners at Augusta Municipal Airport. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Wednesday morning. 24-year-old Corbin Breitenbach was sentenced yesterday to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the rape and attempted murder of a girl when she was just 7 years old in West Wichita last summer. Prosecutors say that back in July of last year, Breitenbach broke into a West Wichita apartment, choked the girl until she was unconscious, and then took her to the balcony and raped her. Cake TV reports Breitenbach acted as his own attorney in the proceedings. The plea hearing for a 32-year-old man accused of running over a Wichita police officer last year has been continued until today. 32-year-old Justin Terrasas yesterday changed his not guilty plea to guilty in a plea deal on charges of aggravated battery and fleeing and eluding in connection to the February 2017 incident. However, the hearing was continued until this afternoon. Wichita police officer Brian Arterburn and his partner were monitoring a house in the 2100 block of South Topeka when Terrasas allegedly fled in an SUV and ran over Arterburn, who was present in the courtroom yesterday. A Goddard High School student lost his life in an early morning vehicle accident west of Wichita yesterday morning. 17-year-old Connor J. Richhuber was traveling westbound on 21st Street North from 167th Street West when his vehicle crossed over the center line and collided with an eastbound vehicle. Richhuber was deceased at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle, 55-year-old James Spear, was taken to Via Christi St. Francis Hospital in critical condition. Investigators believe icy road conditions contributed to that crash. The Wichita City Council has approved millions of dollars in incentives that could bring hundreds of new aviation jobs. KWCH-TV reports that Air Capital Flightline asked for $18 million in industrial revenue bonds for a new manufacturing facility to lease to Spirit Aerosystems. Spirit has committed to adding more than 300 new jobs, which average about $55,000 annually. I'm Rick Everett.
The Kansas City Chiefs will play their game next Monday night in Los Angeles instead of Mexico City. The Azteca Stadium field has not been in good condition due to heavy use and heavy rains, so the NFL decided yesterday that the game needed to be moved back to its original site, which is the home of the Los Angeles Rams. Tonight, Wichita State continues its home stretch with the Lady Shocks, trying to go 3-0 on the season. They will face Sam Houston for a 6:30 tip at Charles Koch Arena. From the Sports Desk, I'm Doug Downs.
Whether by themselves or in a group, deer are a problem this time of year.
They're waiting, they're hiding, and plotting.
Don't let the lone kamikaze or Bambi and his friends take out your truck.
Give your truck the protection it needs and deserves with a grill guard from Continental Truck Accessories. We have what you need to protect your investment, your pride, and joy.
Your truck will be looking sharp and have the upper hand. So stop by our showroom at 6701 South Broadway today.
Or call
Continental Truck Accessories
for all your truck accessory needs.
Fall has a certain feel to it, like no other. And if you're the type of person that likes to get things done outside, there's nothing like the feel of steel in your grip to get the job done. Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays has perhaps the best selection of steel power equipment in western Wichita, maybe south central Kansas. Check out the steel products that have earned the most praise from owners like you at Pride Ag Ace Hardware of Mays, 5204 North Mays Road, where we take pride in serving you.
There it is, Black Friday, and I know everybody has a sale.
But at Rusty Eck Ford, our sales are always bigger.
Now through November 30th, get up to 30% off a new Ford Focus. Ford Escape, 25% off, or choose 0% for $72 and $1,000 back. F-150 XLTs up to 25% off, or our exclusive 0 for $72.
So come gobble up the savings at Rusty Eck Ford. If you don't come and see us today, we can't save you any money.
Now back to the KQAM News Desk.
The death toll from California's most lethal wildfire on record continues to climb. Butte County Sheriff Corey Honier with new information late last night.
And so today, an additional 6 human remains were recovered, which brings the total to 48. All 6 of those remains were located in Paradise, and they were located within homes.
The National Guard has been called in to help in the search for remains in Northern California. One pilot dead, another injured after a T-38C Talon training jet crashed at Laughlin Air Force Base in Texas last night. No IDs or information on the surviving pilot's condition released. Hamas says the resignation of Israel's defense minister after a 2-day bout of heavy fighting led to a ceasefire is a, quote, political victory for Gaza. Global shares mostly lower in their Wednesday trading after the steepest drop in oil prices in more than 3 years put Wall Street in a selling mood yesterday. Stock futures this morning are mixed. I'm Michael Toscano.
Your local weather on KQAM. Brought to you by Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop at the northeast corner of Town West Mall on Maple. Getting it right for over 60 years. Spears Restaurant and Pie Shop.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:06, it's currently 20 degrees.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios, this is the Big Talker, 1480 AM and 102.5 FM KQAM. It's time for Reason.
Now we can move forward and we can do something really fantastic here. If we can light the fire under our legislature, if we can get Republicans on board to do the right thing, to not play wishy-washy politics, to not coddle to the education special interests, maybe we can get our budget under control. We're now prepared to understand that everything we do, we have to do with a supermajority to override her veto, because she's going to veto just about everything that the legislature does.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Then I'll get on my knees and pray. We don't get fooled again. Don't get fooled again.
That's what I'm talking about. Welcome into the Voice of Reason, hour number 3. The Voice of Reason broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas on the Big Talker. 1480 on the AM side, 102.5 on the FM side, KQAM, simulcasting as well on TV, KGP TV, let me try that again, KGPT TV channel 2610. There we go. We are on YouTube Live as well. No more Facebook Live, but YouTube Live. Just go to youtube.com, find KQAM Radio. You can subscribe to it. We have a bunch of people jumping on this morning, which welcome aboard and good morning to you. We appreciate it and love it very much. Welcome in 316-721-8255, 316-721-TALK. Well, as we talk about the state politics, we are in a government gridlock between our more conservative legislature, which we ended up winning, 8 or 9 more seats conservative from moderate establishment Republicans in the primary. We also went more Republican in the general election, winning about 4 more seats there. So we're on a more conservative bend in our state legislature, while we have a more progressive Democrat governor that's just been elected, Governor-elect Laura Kelly, in the gridlock that's going to ensue in Kansas. Now let's look at the federal level, where we have a Democrat-run House, we have a Republican-run Senate, we still have President Donald Trump, and the gridlock that may potentially happen at the federal level as well. To talk about that and what we could see from the legislation-wise, what we could do to actually, get things done there, how we actually get things done there. It's going to be a very interesting session over the next 2 years. But he's the president of American Commitment. You can find him online at americancommitment.org. It's been a while since we've had him on the show, but excited to have back on here Phil Kerpen on the line. Phil, how are you, my friend?
Excuse me. I'm doing great, Andy. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. I really appreciate you coming on the show here. First off, this election was weird. I thought. I'm still trying to grasp it. As I mentioned, in Kansas, we went very, very far left with our governor's race, but we went more conservative in our state legislature. It almost seems that we did that way at the federal level as well. We gained a few seats in the Senate. We lost some seats in the House, and now we're going to see some crazy government gridlock. Before we get into the issues, what's your thoughts on just the election in general and kind of where we came out at the end?
Well, I think President Donald Trump is the greatest force for democracy and participation that the country's ever seen. We just had, because so many people love him and so many people hate him, a presidential-level turnout in a midterm election. We've never seen anything like this before. Basically, everybody voted, Republican and Democrat, and so we had a very different kind of off-year election. Felt and looked a lot more like a presidential. But the Democrats did very, very well, in particular among suburban voters and among college white voters in particular, who had elected a lot of Republicans in the past. And we had a lot of Republicans in suburban House seats who lost because of that. But at the same time, we had sort of a follow-on on the shift in rural voters and ex-urban voters in some cases, who've shifted very hard Republican and voted for Donald Trump in record numbers in 2016, and there was a follow-through on that in some races, though not quite all races. And I think that what we saw this year was the shift in the suburbs from Republican to Democrat seems to have a little bit more staying power than the shift in more rural areas to sort of historic monster lopsided margins. And that's a bit of a problem for Republicans because it results in a pretty Democratic House of Representatives, which is what we've got right now for the next couple of years. Less of a problem in the Senate because those shifts in statewide elections can sort of offset each other to a certain extent. And that's why, there wasn't much change in the Senate. But, in the House, there was pretty much a Democratic wave, and a lot of people had been predicting that all year, and it's kind of what happened. And so we've now got, Nancy Pelosi. She's got some people who say they don't want to vote for her, but I think she'll wrangle them, and she'll end up being the speaker again. And we're going to have a pretty interesting couple of years where Very little is going to be accomplished legislatively, which I don't mind, by the way, Andy. I think an unproductive Congress tends to be a good thing for the country,
sure.
Because most of the laws they pass, Republican or Democrat, are usually pretty bad, and so gridlock's not the worst thing on legislation. We are, however, going to see a very aggressive oversight approach from all the new Democratic chairmen, and they're going to try to harass and embarrass the administration on a constant basis, of course, with the media's help. And, that could be painful to deal with for the country, and it could be bad for the economy also if it sort of stalls and slows down a lot of the positive things we've seen out of the administration on deregulation and so forth. But the Senate will probably be focused on confirming judges, and that's what they're doing now for the next, through the end of this year, is trying to finish up all the pending judges they've got left. And I think, with gridlock on the legislative side, they should be able to fill, pretty much all of the judicial vacancies in the federal courts over the next couple of years in the Senate. And so they will be doing something productive even while Congress is gridlocked.
Well, that will be definitely a benefit, and especially after we hear about the medical issues with one of the Supreme Court justices, where potentially we could see maybe another flip there soon. We won't have the craziness that we saw with Judge Kavanaugh's hearings if we end up going down that road again. But you're right. I mean, the House is going to be, which I cannot imagine seeing another gavel being handed to Nancy Pelosi. That just is mind-boggling to me, as they talk about being the party of new, fresh blood and new ideas and so on and so forth. They're going back to the same old every single time, with Clinton wanting to run for president again, with Nancy Pelosi wanting to take over the gavel in the House. It's going to be absolutely absurd, but they're going to open up these investigations. They're going to try and go through the impeachment process, which I don't think is going to go anywhere, but it's going to waste time. It's going to waste money. And I think, really, honestly, it's going to help the Republicans in a 2020 election with the presidential reelection, and with maybe gaining some more seats for the House then, because people are going to be frustrated with the lack of doing from the House of Representatives.
Yeah, the Democrats really have kind of a high wire act here, because they've got to deliver something for their base and for both of their bases, their voting base and their media base. I mean, they've got to give them the show trials and kind of, the grandstanding and the stuff that their base wants. But if they go too far with that, they really risk a backlash, and that could hurt them quite a lot and help get President Trump reelected. And we've seen a lot of these sort of wave elections in the first midterm. This is not new. Reagan took huge losses in his first midterm. Clinton, of course, historically lost the House to Republicans for the first time in 40 years. Obama had a disastrous first midterm for him. Republicans picked up 63 seats in the House. All those guys were reelected. And
Sure.
So, the American people like divided government. They like, when one party has everything, they get a little bit uncomfortable. They grab their wallets, that kind of thing. And so they like to balance things out in the first midterm. But that really tells us nothing about a president's chances for reelection.
Well, when it comes to some of the legislation, and I'm wondering how much they're going to try and ram through before the change ends up happening, because of the House Representatives going blue. But when it comes to Trump tax cuts 2.0 that they were trying to work on, when it comes to a farm bill that's been really the talking point here in Kansas for a lot of the Agriculture Committee, when it comes to health care, are we really going to move anywhere with this? Or what if we do end up moving with any of this? What do you think it's going to look like when the final product comes out?
I think the farm bill is pretty close to a conference report. I do think that'll get done this year. Of course, there's still a lot of major decision points that haven't been resolved. And for instance, we strongly support Chuck Grassley's amendment that limits agricultural subsidies to people who actually manage farms and live on farms, so that they're not going to people who live in Manhattan and all those sorts of abuses. But that wasn't in the House version, so we got to see what they do on that point. Of course, we have limits on food stamps in the House version. They want to have work requirements on able-bodied adults to get food stamps. That was not in the Senate version. So there's some big sort of political pivot point kind of things that they've got to resolve, not to mention disagreements on a lot of the nitty-gritty of the specific programs and so forth. So I don't know how close the conferees are to actually resolving all of that, but I think they really feel they need to get that done this year. They don't want to start again in a new Congress. So I do think the Farm Bill will get done. I don't think it's likely we're going to see another round of tax cuts. I mean, I think that was sort of up to the voters in this election, and when they voted for Democrats, that meant we're not going to get another round of tax cuts out of until after 2020.
Sure. Well, let's talk about health care. And you wrote a piece about Democrats voted to take health care away from millions of Americans. As we talk about reforming Obamacare, do we go back to it? Do we get rid of it? We're going to be stagnant again, I think, in this session now that we have a divided Congress. But as they vote on different ideas for where to go with health care, what's the latest when it comes to the health care debate?
Well, Republicans, I think, as always, did a horrible, horrible job talking about health care during this past campaign. They basically tried to avoid it. Democrats were pounding them over and over and over again, and they just sort of got in a fetal position and got kicked over and over and over, didn't really defend themselves. And that ended up being the number one issue among voters. And there was a fear stoked by Democrats in the media that Republicans wanted to take away coverage from millions of Americans, millions of sick Americans, and so forth. But there's no evidence that that's actually true. If you look at any of the Republican bills, they actually spent massive amounts of money to make sure that people with pre-existing conditions would continue to have access to affordable coverage. And in particular, the block grants bill, which kind of emerged as a consensus among Republicans, which sent the money and the control back to the states, fell, one vote short in September 2017. That bill had language in it requiring that one of the things states had to do with the block grant money was make sure there would be a mechanism for affordable coverage for people with pre-existing conditions. And most states did that before Obamacare, including your state of Kansas, had a very effective high-risk pool mechanism so that people with uninsurable pre-existing conditions could get coverage. They paid, I think, 150% of what everyone else paid. So they did have to pay a little bit more. But the point is you want to have an incentive so that people carry insurance when they're healthy, so they don't wait until they get sick. You don't want them to be able to get the exact same price, but you do want to make sure they're going to be able to get coverage if they need it. And so I think Republicans had a much better story to tell on that they weren't telling. But what they accomplished that was so important, they failed to get the big repeal and replace or the block grant bill done. But what they did that was so important is they got the individual mandate repealed. And that opens the door towards deregulating health care and giving people more choices and more options, because if you get something that's not Obamacare now, you're not going to be punished with a penalty tax for not being an Obamacare. And so repealing the mandate really was the escape hatch on everything else that the administration has done since. And they've done quite a lot. They've authorized association health plans. So a lot of national associations are now offering large group health plans for small employers so they can get access to group rates. We've seen the short-term plans massively deregulated. Obama basically crippled short-term plans, said you can only have them for up to 3 months and they cannot be renewed. Trump has reversed that. You can have them for up to a year. They can be renewed for up to 3 years. Most places, those short-term plans have premiums that are running 50 to 80% less than Obamacare. And many of them don't have network restrictions. You can go to any provider you want under these plans. Now, you do need to read all the fine print, what they cover, what they don't cover, coinsurance, and so forth. In particular, the short-term plans do typically exclude pre-existing conditions. So if you've got a pre-existing condition, an Obamacare plan might make more sense for you. But the point is, Trump and Republicans are bringing more choices to more people so you can figure out what works for you. If Obamacare works for you, it's still there. It's still massively subsidized by taxpayers. For people who are under 400% of the poverty level, their premiums are capped as a percentage of income. So people who like Obamacare, it's still there for you. People for whom Obamacare doesn't work, you've now got all these other choices, many of which are much, much less expensive than Obamacare. And so I think that President Trump has actually accomplished quite a lot on health care. The next thing coming down is a proposed rule on what are called health reimbursement arrangements, which will allow employers to make a pre-tax cash contribution for individuals to buy their own health insurance, to make their own choices. I think that's going to be another really positive change that's going to work for a lot of people. And so I actually think Republicans have a pretty good story to tell on health care. They didn't get the big bill done, unfortunately. Obamacare is still there, unfortunately. But they did get the mandate repealed, and that opens the pathway for a lot more choices and a lot more options for people. And if you haven't looked lately, if you're in Obamacare and you really don't like it and it doesn't work that well for you, take another look. Talk to a broker, take a look at what's available in the short-term markets or in these other things, association health plans and so forth. You might be surprised at what's now available because of the deregulatory actions we've seen under this administration.
Well, and that's the good part. At least we can start bringing back some of the competition and other options to where we may not have repealed Obamacare, but at least we can minimize its damage by
Well, we made it voluntary, Andy. It's not mandatory anymore. So that's a huge difference. Getting rid of that individual mandate is a huge difference. Obamacare is still there, but it's voluntary now, and there are other choices.
Exactly. Well, as we mentioned, we're talking with Phil Kerpen, American Commitments. AmericanCommitment.org is the website. As you mentioned, with a lot of this gridlock to where things may start correcting themselves a little bit on the private sector to start limiting some of the damage of what the government's done and the lack of what they're going to do to fix some of this. The focus should be, and we've heard that at least the good news is that right now President Trump and many of the Republicans are working on cleaning up the bureaucratic state, cleaning up the agencies and the departments and getting the right people in there. I mean, we have Sonny Perdue at the Ag Department. We did have Scott Pruitt in for the EPA, trying to limit them and starting to downsize and deregulate a little bit. Is that the focus that we should maybe have right now? Is if we can't get anything through Congress, maybe we can limit the damage from the fourth branch of government in the bureaucratic state?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really been a huge theme of the Trump administration is deregulation and trying to reverse the excesses of the Obama years and some of the excesses of the Bush years as well, and really try to get these departments and these agencies to their core mission. You know, the EPA should be protecting the environment, doing cleanups, making sure we have clean air and water and so forth, not trying to micromanage our energy policy for the country, which is what they were doing under Obama. The Transportation Department has done some major deregulatory lifts under Elaine Chao. The Labor Department under Alex Acosta has been very aggressive on peeling back a lot of these regulatory excesses. And so I think that, one of the things that Donald Trump has done very, very well is he's picked a cabinet that gets that government needs to get out of the way of private business and not excessively regulate and focus on what their real mission is. And by the way, we're not anarchists. I mean, there are positive things that all of these regulators can do, but when they're constantly just piling new regulation on top of new regulation, they actually do a pretty bad job of implementation and enforcement of the core mission. And that's one of the things we really saw under Obama. And so I think the sort of the internal reforms that we're seeing at a lot of these agencies and departments have been incredibly positive and incredibly encouraging. And, I think that Democrats in the House are probably going to try to, spin and smear and use their oversight hearings to attack all of the deregulatory things we're seeing. It's going to be really important for Republicans to defend them and for the administration to continue on the trajectory they've been on, because I think that's been a major factor in the economy being so strong. The economy had really kicked into a higher gear even before they passed the tax cuts. The tax cuts helped, but I think the improvements in the regulatory environment were probably even more significant.
That's very true. Phil Kerpen, American Commitment, AmericanCommitment.org. It's always great to get you on the show, my friend. There's a lot of great stuff going on, potentially good stuff, other stuff very frustrating. But nonetheless, we continue on the fight each and every day. We got to get you back on again real soon.
All right. My pleasure, Andy. Have a good one.
Hey, always a pleasure there. Phil Kerpen, again, AmericanCommitment.org. Go check it out. Great information right there. 24 minutes past the hour. We'll take a break. Open lines to you for the rest of the program right here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Big Talker, KQAM.
I lost my phone the other night, so I said, "Hey Siri, turn on the flashlight." And bam, I followed the LED light and found my phone in seconds. Kim Commando with your Wednesday Consumer Tech Update, brought to you by BePrepared.com. What you need when you need it. Visit BePrepared.com/Kim. Here's another Siri trick. Let's say you don't remember where you parked your car. When your iPhone disconnects from your car's Bluetooth, Siri drops a pin. So ask Siri, "Where did I park my car?" It'll open Maps and show you the location. Or how about we split the bill at lunch and you owe me $10? If you've set up Apple Pay, say, "Hey Siri, send $10 to Kim." Done. Okay, one more. When you want to remember something, fire up Siri and say, "Remind me of this." Siri will add whatever you're looking at, email, text, websites, to reminders with a link that will send you straight back to the content. Nice. I'm Kim Commando. When you're hiring, you don't want to waste time sorting through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want an efficient way to get to a short list of qualified candidates. You need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions based on your job requirements. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed.com for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Dell's Black Friday sale for small business is on. Save up to 50% with massive deals on office essentials like computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and the latest servers. Even other top brand electronics are on sale. Plus, get free shipping on everything. Quantities are limited. Dell's Small Business Technology Advisors can help you find the right tech for your business needs at Black Friday prices. Just call 877-BUY-DELL or visit Dell.com/SB Black Friday. That's 877-BUY-DELL.
American Family Insurance offers you the protection you need to pursue your dreams, even if you take a couple of wrong turns. At American Family, we know your car is more than four wheels that gets you from point A to point B. It's freedom to pursue the things important to you, which is why you want to make sure you have the proper protection. To learn more, get a quote. Contact local American Family agent Brad Woody at 265-6200.
American Family Insurance.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating companies. 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
The Miller Minute with Dennis Miller.
Want to talk about running out the clock. I remember when I was young, I used to watch the University of North Carolina, their basketball team, and Dean Smith was a genius. He had a point guard named Phil Ford, and you could not steal the ball off him. So at the end of the game, he would put his other four players at the four corners of the offensive end of the floor, and Phil Ford would, in essence, dribble the clock away in the middle. It was genius. I don't like it as much when the Democrats do it. This Mueller thing now has been going on for a couple years. I think they run these things so long that they either fall off your radar or you get so confused about it that you just throw your hands up and say, make a decision one way or the other. Now they're going to do it with this Florida recount. They missed the first deadline. They're going to miss Thursday's deadline. They're going to talk, and they're going to weave it in and out, and they're going to spin it, and eventually you throw your hands up. It's time to start hitting deadlines. And that is the Minute. I'm Dennis Miller. If you or a loved one struggles with leg or foot cramps, you've got to try TheraWorks Relief. This non-greasy foam is proven to relieve muscle cramps fast. And with daily use, TheraWorks Relief can even prevent muscle cramps. So you can get a full night's sleep or do activities you love without worry. TheraWorks Relief only takes minutes to apply, absorbs quickly, and it works. TheraWorks Relief is my choice for preventing and relieving muscle cramps. Get TheraWorks Relief today in the pain relief aisle at Walmart, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, or at TheraWorksRelief.com.
Renowned medical correspondent and endurance race champion Bob Arnott, MD.
People ask me, how do you keep competing at the age of 70? Healthy living is important, but so is pain relief. If you have pain, you can't train. So I'm thrilled I discovered Salonpas Lidocaine Plus. This unique topical pain reliever contains 2 safe and effective anesthetics. Nothing has worked better for me.
Salonpas Lidocaine Plus, cream or roll-on.
29 minutes past the hour. Welcome back in. Thanks again to Phil Kerpen from American Commitment joining the program. AmericanCommitment.org is his website. Go check it out. Great information there. And you know what? We always have an opportunity. We always have a way to gain, to do what needs to be done. As we mentioned, we may not get legislation passed with our gridlock Congress. Not necessarily a bad thing. When it comes to some of the budget stuff and the compromises that may come out, they may not be in the best form, so we're still going to be fighting that fight. But at the same time, let's focus on the bureaucratic state. Let's focus on the agencies and the departments that are way too big, that are way too powerful, that they don't need to be there. So we always have a positive side because, you know what? We are very optimistic. Bottom of the hour news coming up. Your phone calls when we come back. Open lines to you for the last half hour of the program. This is The Voice of Reason.
Here's the latest from the KQAM News Center.
5 days after the deadliest and most destructive wildfire in California history, people are still waiting for word on their missing loved ones. Over 1,000 evacuees are at more than a half dozen shelters. There were large bulletin boards with information about missing people. Authorities say the fire has killed at least 48 and destroyed 7,700 homes in Northern California alone. Palestinian officials say a Gaza fisherman has been killed by Israeli fire in northern Gaza Strip. The Fishermen's Union says the 20-year-old man was working today on the beach near the land separating Gaza from Israel when he was shot in the stomach. British Prime Minister Theresa May is set to face her divided cabinet in a bid to win support for a draft Brexit deal with the European Union. If cabinet supports the deal today, it would need approval from the EU at a summit next week. I'm John Trout.
What's in store this holiday at your local Staples?
Giving and receiving.
And receiving some more.
This year, give the job of printing your holiday cards to Staples, and you'll receive big savings.
Because now at Staples, you get 20% off custom holiday cards and invitations. Plus, when you spend $50 on custom printing, you'll receive a $15 print coupon.
So, happy holiday to you.
Staples. There's a whole lot in store this holiday.
Exclusions apply. Valid in store only. See associate for details. Ends 12/29/18.
In a world where dynamic design meets vibrant styling, only one vehicle will rise. Introducing the Mitsubishi Eclipse Cross. From the engineers who brought you available super all-wheel control comes a touchpad controller, head-up display, and more. Audiences and critics agree with 0% APR for 72 months plus $1,000 cash back. The Eclipse Cross is a must-see. Now showing in a Mitsubishi Motors dealership near you. Offer ends 11/30/18. Available through Ally Financial. Subject to approved credit and insurance. Price, terms, vehicle availability may vary. May not combine with factory cash rebates. See a dealership for details.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. Good Wednesday. Northwest Kansas Technical College was placed on lockdown yesterday after employees received a call about a possible active shooter on campus. Goodland police say school staff called 911, and the Goodland Police Department, Kansas Highway Patrol, and Sherman County Sheriff's Office all responded. Law enforcement cleared the area and no threat was located. The Goodland Police Department investigated the origin of the call and determined that the incident stemmed from rumors being circulated within the student body. Police say this was not a hoax or swatting incident. Authorities say police shot and wounded a man after he fired at an officer in Pratt. The KBI says 38-year-old Rene Prieto of Pratt is in critical condition in a Wichita hospital. The shooting happened yesterday afternoon in Pratt after police responded to a report of a man waving a gun on a street outside of a home. Kansas Mid-America Network News. I'm Rick Everett.
Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat. Time to load up and head to Mound Ridge for the Christmas Arts and Craft Fair, Saturday, November 17th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Greer Auditorium. November 17th, 9 to 2 for the Mound Ridge Christmas Arts and Craft Fair.
At Starseed, we realize every farmer and rancher has a passion for conservation, which is why we offer conservation seeds. This season, let Starseed assist with your CRP, buffers, waterways, roadside projects, and any wildlife project you have in mind. Starseed works closely with landowners, dealers, and government agencies to ensure the best quality seed for all of your conservation needs. Call Starseed today at 800-782-7311 or visit our website at gostarseed.com.
My friend, you can find out why Pizza John's is the pizza of choice in Derby for over 44 years. Pizza John's in Derby, the original purveyors of round meals and flat snacks, is more than pizza. Lunches include salads, spaghetti, complete with garlic bread. And Pizza John's of Derby is the hoagie headquarters of South Central Kansas. Dine in or carry out. Delivery after 5 p.m. by simply calling 788-2011 or quick and easy online at pizzajohnderby.com. Pizza John's.
Christmas is coming and the goose is getting fat. Time to load up and head to Mound Ridge for the Christmas Arts and Craft Fair, Saturday, November 17th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Greer Auditorium. November 17th, 9 to 2 for the Mound Ridge Christmas Arts and Craft Fair.
Here's your latest forecast on the Big Talker KQAM. For this morning, sunny, clear, and cold. High near 36, low for tonight around 23. Tomorrow, warmer, sunny, clear, and 50 with a low around 31 tomorrow night. Sunny and 55 on Friday, but only 44 on Saturday. I'm Amp Harrell, and that's your latest forecast on Wichita's big station, the Big Talker, AM 1480 and 102.5 FM KQAM.
At 8:35, it's currently 20 degrees.
It's time for Reason.
But conservatism, that is not dead. Actually, we're going back to that, and we're doing that in very large steps. We are repealing government mandates. We're repealing big government regulations. We're getting the economy going again. We're focusing on the private sector. We're doing some really great things that lead to what the Tea Party's been fighting for a really long time.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
Hey, welcome into The Voice of Reason. 36 minutes past the hour. It's great to have you with us today on a Wednesday. It is halfway through the week. You see the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, baby, we are, can you imagine? We are a week away from Thanksgiving. That is insane. It is also 20 degrees and it's very cold, and it drives me nuts. Here's the latest headline from Fox News Insider. Unsisterly, Vogue asks why women keep voting for GOP, quote-unquote, against their own interests. Oh, mon Dieu. Now, I've seen different headlines through recapping the election as we've talked about it. We've talked about the numbers. And really, Phil was right when he said that we had a massive turnout for this election nationwide as if it were like a presidential election. We had 113 plus million individuals that turned out to vote, like 48% of the potential eligible voters in the country. Now, that's about usual, as voter turnout in the country is very low for whatever reason, but we had close to 49% of actual voter turnout from eligible voters. Now, that's not dead people. That's not people that are too young. That's not illegal aliens. That's not the population of the nation, but that is the eligible voters of close to 49%, which isn't bad. And that's about what we get for a presidential election as well. It's sad that we have to worry about the fact that people don't actually show up. But now there's the story from Vogue asking white women who vote Republican why they continue to vote against their own interest. There was a headline that I saw that I thought summed it up really well that said the one that lost the most in this election was individualism. Individuality. And we like to talk about individuality here on the show as well quite a bit because you are you. You're not part of a group. You're not part of a groupthink mentality. You're not part of the class warfare. You shouldn't hate on someone because they have more or they have less. You shouldn't hate on someone because of their skin color or their gender identification or their sexual orientation because we don't care. None of that stuff matters in any way, shape, or form. You judge someone based on their character. If they're a jerk in public, then you call them a jerk. If they're nice, then you call them nice, and you're friends with them, regardless of who they are. Who really cares? If they're caring and they take care of individuals and they're charismatic and they're hard workers and they actually do the right thing and they actually follow the law and they embrace the rule of law, then you know what? All the power to you. If you protest and you rile and you try and just cause issues and you do what you can, I mean, we see people trying to protest just for the sake of protesting. Then you know what? You're not going to be the best. You're voting against your interests. Come on. But that's the new question from Vogue. These are the Democrats at work right now is, oh, look, if you're white, then if you're a woman, then you shouldn't be voting Republican in any way, shape, or form. Now, I laugh because there is a very large population of females that are Republican, that are Trump supporters even with the terrible, horrible things that Donald Trump has said, right? And I'm sure that just because you're a woman and you may be whatever skin color you are, but if you're a woman, then you probably voted for Laura Kelly, right? Yeah, because you're a woman, and therefore you needed to have a woman to be the governor. Who cares what her ideas are? But you probably voted for her to be governor just because the sole fact that she is a woman, right? Just for like the same stories that we saw when Hillary Clinton was running for president. They were voting for Hillary just because it's her time, she deserves it, and she's a woman. And we need to have the first woman. We just came off the first black president. Now we need to have the first woman president. And therefore we can just go down the spectrum because we need to be inclusive. I mean, Sharice Davids won up in the 3rd Congressional District because she was part of the LGBTQ community, and she was a woman, and she was a kickboxer. And therefore, and she's Native American. That's right. So that way you can check off how many boxes can you check off down the list. Why Vogue would ask something like that, I don't know. Go ask the liberal media. But that's the latest from the headlines from Fox News. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, on the other hand, as well. We talked in the earlier hours about why we vote certain ways and the lunacy that we end up voting for and why we vote for things just for the sake of voting for it, when we don't either quite understand or we're very open to it and we're completely lost our minds, or we have good intentions, but we go about it the wrong way. Fox News and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez have clashed in the past, but Alexandria now, according to the AmericanMirror.com, flirts with running for president while dancing and making mac and cheese on Instagram. Now, I don't care. People make funny comments and they say things and they dance around and do silly things on social media. I get it. I'm not attacking her for that. But you remember during the presidential run when they surfaced the video of Ted Cruz as a kid asking what he wanted to do when he became an adult, and he said he wanted to rule the world or run the country? And they attacked him because how dare you say something like that? You must be a dictator. You must be a tyrant. When, of course, he was saying it tongue-in-cheek. This is what we voted for, was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, one of the most ingenious, as in, like, not the brightest individuals really in the entire country, to actually be an elected representative in our governmental system. And she's been in the media every single day almost since her election, and she's not even an elected official yet, and she has made the most absurd, ridiculous, dumb comments I've ever heard from anybody, especially an elected official. Especially an elected official. But just, I mean, if it was just someone on the street, you're like, wow, they're not the really brightest crayon in the box, are they? And to think that that's in our governmental system now. Here we go. Ocasio-Cortez gives final burst of wisdom, says how she's going to pay for everything. If you remember her plan for expanded Medicaid and governmental programs, for social programs, taking care of individuals, how when she asked how she was going to pay for the $40 trillion, that's right, $40 trillion with a T, how she's going to pay for that program, before she was just like, it's not going to cost that much, it's going to be fine. All right, how are you going to pay for it? This is CNN asking, by the way, too. How are you going to pay for it? Don't worry about it. Now, what'd she say? You just pay for it. You just pay for it. That's what her comment. People often say, like, how are you going to pay for it? And I find a question so puzzling because how do you pay for something that's more affordable? How do you pay for cheaper rent? You just pay for it. We're paying for it now. It's not like, this is a quote, by the way, it's not like we're saying this whole system is free. It's the cost. It's free of cost to the point of service. So that means that you're not delaying going to the dentist because you don't have cash at that point of service. What? You just pay for it. You just do it. Just do it. By the way, this is the same individual that just complained because she couldn't afford the rent in Washington, D.C. Hey, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, here's some words of wisdom for you. Just pay for it. I can't afford my rent in D.C. It's too expensive because interest rates are because the cost of living is really high there. Well, you know what? Thanks to a world full of politicians, and guess what? Like your own advice, like how we're supposed to pay for a $20 or $40 trillion health care plan, you just pay for it, Alexandria. That's what you do. Just pay for it. Yeah, see how well that works for you. 316-721. She's been in the media every day. And she says dumber and dumber things. And the crazy thing is, people defend it. Which means one of two things. Either one, they don't understand the lunacy because, like, you know, there's nothing behind the glossy eyes, or they just don't care. And they're so ingrained with their cognitive bias that they don't care when the facts smack them in the face of what's legitimately happening. They don't care. She's good. She's smart. We met her. She's awesome. Yeah. Good luck with that. You just pay for it. Oy vey. 316-721-8255. It's open line to you for the rest of the program here. Let's go to it. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
Good morning, Andy. It's Nick.
Nick, what's going on, sir? How you doing?
Well, I was intrigued by some of this discussion here. You know, Gerard the other day said that the Democratic Party would probably no longer be, and the Republicans would make a progressive type of party. And
kind of a bold statement, isn't it?
Well, with this insanity going on the left, you know, part of that is a little, you know, coming to fruition. I think it will be. But my concern is with the progressive Republican mentality. I do notice that tomorrow you're having a Sedgwick County Republican Party reorganization deal.
Yes, we are voting for the new leaders for the board for the county party.
And so I'm not part of Sedgwick County per se, but I am part of the Republican Party. And so I got on the website, and I guess my concern is, you know, when we talk about innovate, if you look up the definition for innovate, it means to change something that's been established through processes, ideas, and methods. And so, you know, it kind of rings true on what that Gerard was saying, that some of these foundational principles that we've had forever and ever and ever are being challenged in ways that I think we need to be careful about the decisions that we're making, because it's going to affect the trajectory of our republic and that sort of thing. And so I'm kind of wondering, the platform necessarily wasn't really a platform, it was more of a process. And I'm just kind of wondering, what the intentions were and where that glide path is going.
In regards to like the election for the county board you're talking about.
That's correct.
Well, from what we've talked about is, I mean, the Innovate, Inspire, and Ignite is kind of been the process that Dalton Glasscock, who's been the one that's running for chair right now, they kind of put together. And the Innovate is we really want to inspire more people to be involved. And whether it's the younger generation, as majoritively the individuals on the board are a little bit younger. I mean, Dalton, I don't even know how old Dalton is, actually younger than I. I'm 30. Ben Sauceda, he's relatively young as well. Tanya Buckingham. I mean, we have a young group that can really inspire to bring more people into the club based on the young generation. Some that may not be participating at all, some that may be ones that don't understand what conservatism is, and some that may, not even the young generation, but just ones that don't necessarily get involved in the first place. So it's really more of a let's rally together, let's bring in more people into the crowd of the Republicans locally to get people to run for office, to get more engaged individuals, and to try and rally the base here locally, because that's where the change is really going to happen.
Right. The fall of the Roman Empire was due to the complete and total breakdown of societal norms.
Sure.
And I think we, as the United States of America, and specifically Kansas, seem to be treading dangerously close to that prophetic conclusion, if you will.
Sure, I agree.
And I think those behind the agenda to change our foundational principles of marriage and family are a bigger and more subversive threat to our country than any radical Islamic extremist could ever will be. So there are essentials that we must protect at all costs, and that must be unanimously agreed upon 100% and are non-negotiable. And I believe that these include our beliefs as a Kansas Republican Party that our institution of traditional marriage is the foundation of society. Our families and communities are the bedrock strength of our nation, and the principles outlined in Plank 12 of the Kansas Republican Party platform, preserving traditional families. For without, I believe we will have lost our identity as an exceptional nation, thereby forfeiting our divine protection. And I think faith, family, and freedom, we may choose life or we may choose death, and I hope that we choose life on this. So I just I'm praying for everybody down in Sedgwick County, and I hope that we can work on that without innovating too much of the bedrock principles.
I love it. No, Nick, I appreciate it. I want to get some more phone calls here, but you're right, and I agree with, I love that. The faith, family, and freedom, I think, is really important when it comes to conservative values and conservative principles. I completely agree, and I think that fighting for conservatism, fighting for traditionalism, and fighting for conservative values is an extremely important aspect. So very much. I appreciate that, Nick. 317.
Right here on 1480 KQAM.
See, that's what I'm talking about. We're going to have some fun today, and we're going to do two of these bad boys, because we like to give free things away. We're not going to do it in the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez way, where we just say, you just find a way to do it. No, we're going to make sure it gets done, and we're going to do it the right way, and we like to give free things away. So, here's how it works. Like usual, our KQAM Turkey Drop presented by Yoder Meats. 3 locations in Wichita, 1 in Yoder. Online at yodermeatsks.com, as they have fantastic, fresh, non-processed, non-frozen meat that you can get, and you get to go and pick out your turkey, probably still moving to some degree. As we roll along, here's the way it works. I present 3 different businesses. You choose which one it's going to be, and if you win, you get it right. You get your turkey. If you lose, then we go on to the next one, and you get to choose again until we get the winner for our KQAM Turkey Drop of the day. We already did one earlier today, and the Spectacle Shop won that one. Here are your 3 options this time for round number, whatever this one is. Option number 1, MJ's Truck Repair in Mound Ridge, Kansas. Number 2, Stephanie Carlson, JP Wygand Associates. And number 3, EMC Insurance. Which one do you think is going to be the winner today? If you win, you get the turkey. If you lose, then we go on to the next one. So let's go to it. Line number 1. Good morning. What's your name?
James.
Hey, James. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, very good. All right, here are your options. MJ's Truck Repair in Mound Ridge, Stephanie Carlson, JP Wygand, and EMC Insurance. Which one do you think is going to win today, James?
Let's go with the Wygand.
Wygand, all right. Right off the bat, going for Stephanie Carlson, JP Wygand. James, will you win this one as the helicopter flies right on by, the turkey flying high and above? Who's going to win it? Yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. James, hang on the line, my friend. Congratulations to you. Boy, the last time we had to get down to the third one, actually. This one, we go right off the bat and end up winning. Congratulations to you. You, your friend, won a turkey hat tip to KQAM, to JP Wygand, Stephanie Carlson, and with Yoder Meats. All right, here on KQAM. Lots more coming up. If you're on the line, stay here. We'll get to you when we come back. This is The Voice of Reason.
This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier. Opening markets on KQAM. Brought to you by Schmidt & Sons of Mount Hope and Winfield.
Mostly higher in the livestock, mixed in the grains and soybeans. Going to start a midweek Wednesday like that. Let's check the ag futures markets. Brady Charles at Schwieterman Incorporated has the information. Good morning, Brady.
Good morning. Well, a little bit of a mixed day to mostly higher in the grains, and the livestock are mostly higher as well. December live cattle are up 25 at 115.62. February's up 70 at 119.40, and April's up 32 at 120.95. November feeders are down 12 cents at 148.85. January's up 60 at 147.55, and March is up 27 at 144.40. December lean hogs are down a nickel at 57.25. In the grain markets, December Kansas City wheat's trading steady at 486.5, March steady at 509.5, and July steady at 535.5. December Chicago's down a penny at 506 3/4. July's up a quarter at 536. In the corn, the December is steady at 366.5. March is up a quarter at 378, and July is down a quarter at 393. Nove beans are up 5 3/4 at 873. January's up 4 1/4 at 882.5. March is up 4 1/4 at 896. Bean oil is up 6 at 27.60, and the meal's up 70 at 304.60. Oats up 4 1/4 at 288 3/4. Cotton is up 48 at 76.34, and the Dow Jones is currently trading up 161 points at 25,450. This has been Brady Charles from Schwieterman Incorporated. For questions on these markets, any other markets, and all your marketing needs, please give us a call at 800-272-9131 or visit us online at upthelimit.com.
Are you ready to maximize your uptime in the field and save 15% while doing it? This is Leroy the Tractor Man from Schmidt & Sons, offering big savings and special discounts until December 31st on all AGCO PM360 maintenance plans. Bring your equipment into Schmidt & Sons for an AGCO PM360 inspection, inspected by our factory-trained certified technicians, and you will receive peace of mind knowing your equipment will operate at peak performance, minimizing costly repairs, increasing uptime, and improving your trade-in value. Plus, repairs done in our service department entitle you to 1-year warranty on parts and 6 months warranty on labor. Right now, the deal is even sweeter because with your inspection, not only can you receive up to 15% off on AGCO parts, with approved credit, you can receive 0% interest and no payments for 180 days on repairs of $1,000 or more. Give us a call at either the Mount Hope or Winfield location to sign up for the AGCO PM360 maintenance inspection and get the peace of mind you need and deserve all season long. Or find us on the web at schminink.com.
Proper lawn care and maintenance often involves reseeding and fertilizing. But when using a mechanical hand spreader, it's hard to tell exactly where it goes. Thus, today you'll learn how to see where you've been so you don't have to do it again. Here's how.
From deep within the Carey Brothers vault
of spreading information,
we bring this simple revelation.
Indeed. Says here, when using a mechanical hand spreader,
it's easy to tell where you've already seeded or fertilized
if you first add a little helping of flour to your mix.
Yep, regular old white flour like for baking.
Then when spreading,
you know where stuff goes.
And it won't hurt your lawn. It washes right off.
With a little flour power in your mix, you can see where you've been.
Both up and back, and both sides now. And you won't have to do it again.
For more tips, visit our website at onthehouse.com.
Air King is proud to once again be named Energy Star Partner of the Year for 2018. Air King offers a full selection of kitchen range hoods, residential and light commercial exhaust fans, as well as industrial and commercial grade portable air circulating fans, with some of the best solutions in the industry, including their newly introduced fresh air machine. Air King is your source for total home ventilation. Go to airkinglimited.com to learn more. That's airkinglimited.com.
Just a few minutes left on the program. Thanks again to James. Congratulations for you winning the turkey drop today for the second one. We'll do another one tomorrow. And I believe we have Thursday, Friday, and then Monday and Tuesday next week. We have 4 turkey drops left. 4! So make sure to get in there when we do it again tomorrow. Stay tuned in for that one. 316-721-8255. I really do like what Nick mentioned about the faith, family, and freedom. Conservatism. And look, here's the thing. Conservatism is what we really have to continuously fight for every single day. What we really have to do is we have to appeal to the younger generation. I mean, we have to get them on board. They're going to become the voters at some point, whether they want to or not, and we have to bring them in. We have to explain. If we explain conservatism to where we don't care about race, we don't care about gender identification, we don't care about that stuff. I mean, we obviously believe in, 2 genders. And if you don't, then, well, whatever. But individual liberty, individual sovereignty, then we can win. The responsibility, personal responsibility, and we can win. The opportunity for you to do whatever you want to do, the dreams that you can go as far as you want to become and go as far as you want to go and be as big as you want to be. You have that opportunity, not under socialism, because that takes it away, but you, yourself. And that's what a lot of people want to do. That's why the catalyst needs to be here at the local level. That's why this show is so important, why this message is so important from whoever's spreading it, whether it's you, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else. As long as someone's spreading the idea that you can be what you want to be, that you have the aspirations to go as far as you want to go, under a conservative principle, under conservative values, then we can win. Anybody would be open to that. Anybody. Regardless of the politics, regardless of the party, conservative values, if you explain them and you show the opportunity that anybody can have regardless of their upbringing, regardless of their history, then guess what? Conservatism wins every time. We can win the discussion as long as we're willing to have it. What conservatives need to do is start remembering how to explain what conservatism actually is. If we explain it and we debate it, then we win every single time. Everybody have a great Wednesday. It's the middle of the week. Thursday's right around the corner. It's going to be a big show tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it. This is The Voice of Reason. Everybody have a great day.
It's full of comic legends.
What TV series featured Tinky Winky and Poe?
To Catch a Predator.
Wall-to-wall laughs.
In Greek mythology, the goddess of virginity is who?
Lying.
It's the comedy game show.
In reference to the drugstore chain, what does CVS stand for?
Condoms, Viagra, and snacks.
Watch all the comedy on Funny You Should Ask.
Weekdays at 2 on Fox, Kansas.
You all know Paul at Riverside Cafe, and I was by and saw a sign that said pick any 4 for $4 for breakfast. I said, Paul, that's a heck of a deal. He said, well, yes it is. Pick any 4. Sausage link, hash brown, slice of bacon, 3 silver dollar pancakes, quarter biscuit with gravy, a sausage patty, slice of buttered toast, any 4 for only $4. It is kind of an early bird special from 6 to 9 every day. The pick 4 for $4 at Riverside Cafe.
Broadcasting from the Rusty Eck Ford Studios. Rusty Eck Ford, family owned, customer friendly. This is the Big Talker, 102.5 FM and 1480 AM, KQAM, Wichita Proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Augusta Flight Center, with the largest and most diverse fleet of rental aircraft in central Kansas. Learn more at iflyaugusta.com.
Good Wednesday morning. A Goddard High School student lost his life